Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of The Gray Area. I am Mr. Bennett, joined by my partner, as always, Grooming and Reviews 101, aka The Ghost of Sparta, aka Peter, aka Panagiotis. But we have a special guest in the building tonight. We have his mom here, Mrs. Anna. She is joining us this evening on this special edition of The Gray Area. So it is so good to see you. Welcome aboard, Yasu. My
Yeah.
brother, how are you? And Mrs. Anna, how are you, Yasu?
Tikanis.
Awesome, awesome. You're gonna have to teach me that one. That's a new one. I was
How are
expecting
you?
something else. I had my response right there, and then she threw a curveball at me. So I have to.
Yes, you
He's teaching me a lot of Greek, so I'm trying to get better. I'm keeping. I got a catalog of words here and phrases and whatnot. So I'm trying to learn the language. I may have to take a crash course, but it is. But
Just give me a second to explain because she doesn't understand that much English. So,
okay, okay,
Thorny, he Alexis, but my thing in All
Oh, good.
right.
God bless
awesome. Bless you too. Bless you too. So again, thank you again, everyone, for joining us on this edition of the Gray Area. Again, as you see, scrolling at the bottom of the screen, our cash apps. If you enjoy the content and you certainly would like to give us a gift, we'd appreciate anything that you give us. But more importantly, we ask that you support the network, support the BMU network, as we give you content on a daily basis. And we're just looking to grow the platform. So anything that you can give to the network, certainly we would greatly appreciate. But just thank you for everyone who's joining us tonight. I know we're going to have a steady stream of people coming through here tonight. So again, we thank you. We understand it's Sunday evening and getting ready for the work week, and so everyone is busy. But we appreciate that you spend some time with us tonight as we switch topics. So we're going to talk about, if you saw the earlier banners, we're going to talk about a lighthearted topic, talk about toys. But tonight we're talking about parental care. All right. So again, this is an issue that for a lot of us, I know myself, I've had to be in care of both of my parents. So I lost my father back in 2018, and I still care for my mom to this day. And this is a topic, especially if you're a baby boomer or Gen Xer, you're coming into that reality. And this is, I think, going to be even bigger topic in the future because, again, people are starting to have children later. And so, you're going to be in your 20s. You can have parents that are already senior citizens as possible. And so, we want to delve into this topic tonight. And but it's great to see Mrs. Anna here, so we can get some personal experience with this. And Peter, how you've been able to do it, and also how you guys, are able to make it work. Because I know sometimes it's not easy to do. And so, I'm just going to turn the floor over to them, but I just want to give the stage. But again, we've shared, Peter has been very transparent in these spaces as far as, his mom and the care that he does for her. And we just get so happy when we hear the reports of her recovery and how well she's doing. And, so again, even though he can be a bad boy sometimes, but he's a great son. And so I appreciate when men step up and take care of their parents in these times. So Peter, I will turn it over to you and your mother, and anything you guys want to say, and take it away. The floor is yours. Ask me anything that you want, and I may ask a few questions of my own, but the floor is yours, buddy. Take it away.
So, obviously, this is my mother. I know she can be a little bit of a pain in the ass.
Oh, so ladies and gentlemen, just heads up. All right, Peter's been pretty transparent. Okay. Their dialogue might be like something you haven't seen, especially with black people. A lot of times we don't hear this kind of language going back and forth between parents and children, but they have a very open, very real, very transparent relationship. So the language that may be used in this space, how they dialogue with each other, don't be shocked. This is just how it is with these two. And I heard about it, but I'm finally getting the flavor of it tonight. So I don't want anybody put off saying, "Oh, he talked to his mom like that." It's like this is them. Okay,
This is normal
and
for us. Trust
absolutely.
me.
Absolutely. So I just want to said that. So I don't want people passing out or writing us on stuff. It's like, oh, he disrespected his mom. It's like, nah, this is them.
You just
So,
heard.
yeah. So this is them. This is raw and uncut, unfiltered. And so again, I just wanted to put that in there. But you continue. Go ahead.
This is actually the unfiltered channel, so we're going to be very unfiltered tonight. So obviously, this is my mother, 75 years old, by Ellen, stage 3 colon cancer. And when I say she battles, you have no idea. She will kick and scream, punch, bite, you name it. A warrior, you have The Spartan.
It's Sparta!
Please. Whatever you want. She's shy right now. She's acting a little shy.
Δεν ξέρω τι να πω, τι να πω, δεν
She
ξέρω.
doesn't know what to say. She's acting a little shy. So, πες πόσο άρεσε η Ελλάδα, εδώ η μερική διαφορά. What's different from here in Greece?
Is the different Greece and America.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, for the swimming and the weather is very, very different.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. What do you prefer? Do you prefer living in America or living in Greece? What do you prefer?
I have many years over here.
Right.
Since then I go before for the 3 surgeries, and I go every 2 years.
Every 2 years to Greece?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Now I can. I go on the vacation 3-4 months. Now I can.
Right.
I have the big problem.
Yes.
Good English, ma. Good English.
Τι?
Good English, σου λέω.
Δεν το είπα.
Ναι, αλλά να με βρεις τώρα.
Oh, fuck you.
Hey, I'm setting it out now. All right.
I'm sorry.
I'm saying it now. This is like no other show in the history of the BMU network where you're going to see this kind of dialogue between them. But again, you can tell the love is real, for sure. But again, this is how they do it, y'all. So again, this is about cultural exchange. And so this is again, a very different cultural experience. So this is what the gray area is about, bringing different people of different cultural backgrounds together. And these two are certainly sharing with us how they this is how they rock. This is how they do things here. So
we have 3 guests tonight. We got a third one. Here's Alexander, who is being a little brat right now. So he's
hey, Alex.
Yeah. So what?
And after from fix it for the cook, right? She's not have it a lot of Greek stuff.
Right.
Okay, and now I go to New York in Astoria and I buy to the Greek stuff.
Right.
Cheese, a lot of difference from Greek.
Right.
And over there, no have it.
Right.
And after she's have a lot of islands. Πώς λέγεται η θάλασσα?
Ocean.
The ocean is very, very good.
Right.
October in Greece, and I go the swimming.
Yes.
Over here, no.
So you don't have that nice water. Is Greek water? Is it typically blue color? Is it like a blue?
She's in
Σε ρωτάει η θάλασσα στην Ελλάδα. Πώς είναι το χρώμα της θάλασσας?
Beautiful, clear.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
What,
and από την Ευρώπη, from Europe, and coming to the Czech, all the seas, okay, for the island, or you every good, and they give me special flag, λέγεται τη σημαία.
Yes, that's flag. Correct.
Yes. And this summer, you have it a lot of American people go to in Greece.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah. My wife and I we're thinking about it. We're actually planning. Maybe we might go to Greece next year. We're actually talking about that now.
Σου λέει το παιδί του χρόνου η γυναίκα του θα πάνε στην Ελλάδα για διακοπές.
Oh, she's the beautiful. And I go to the May and June.
May and June?
July, August, she's very hot.
Okay.
After then I go September, October is the beautiful months and I go.
Okay. All right. I'll keep that in mind because that's one of the things we talk about, when to go. So I'll keep that in mind. So the fall is a good time. I guess spring would be okay as well. Spring or fall weather. How's the spring?
So spring is nice, not too cold.
Okay.
Especially this winter, no snow, no nothing.
Awesome.
And
Awesome.
I have a lot of friends in Greece, and 2 or 3 times open the heat, okay, for night, little bit, then down to then have a lot of humidity,
Mm-hmm.
and open 2-3 hours to the heat. That's it.
Right. Right.
Almost now every year, then the change to πώς το λένε το ο καιρός που αλλάζουν.
Change the weather, change of seasons. Excuse me.
Change, you know.
Right.
Never to Greece and have it 39 and 40.
That's Celsius, right?
The temperature, all right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Τι είπες αυτό?
Now you have this temperature. You know why? Why to then δεν μπορώ να το εξηγήσω.
Tell me.
Το κλιματικό, το κλίμα.
The climate changes so rapidly here versus there it stays steady.
Yes. You have 4 seasons here. So yes, it's definitely different. Which season here do you like the best? You like winter, spring, summer, fall? What's your favorite season?
Χιόνι.
Δεν έχω πρόβλημα, πες του, γιατί δεν πολύ βγαίνω εγώ έξω. Δεν έχω παρέες, δεν έχω αυτά και δεν...
Στα γεράματος δεν σε νοιάζει, στα χείλη σου γράφεις.
Όχι και νέα που έβγαινα, νέα.
So now she doesn't go out as much. She doesn't care. She's in the house.
Okay.
95% of the time because her cancer, she doesn't really go out because she still wears a mask because of COVID. She's very scared of COVID.
Right.
Vaccinated and everything. So...
Και before, more young, right? And I go the shopping, and I come in the home,
Right.
and I fix the cook, and after this, and after fix it to the a needle point.
Oh, needlepoint. Yeah. My mom did that for years. Yeah, she loved needlepoint. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So,
Beautiful. Both. Yeah.
We always talk about independent women over the year. She's a very independent. She literally did a whole floor by herself. Το πάτωμα, θυμάσαι στο πρωινό που κάνεις? Στο φλόρι.
Που έβαλα πλακάκια.
Ναι.
Στο New Jersey που φτιάξα το μπάνιο.
She remodeled the whole bath.
The tiles στο New Jersey. Ναι, το μπάνιο.
She remodeled the whole bathroom by herself.
By herself. All right.
Yes.
Awesome. That's awesome. That's right.
Almost I'm young now in the 75.
that is terrific.
I can see for one eye. I have a lot of cataract.
Okay.
And a glaucoma for the left.
Right. But again,
you're very young. You still can do things. You don't worry.
Oh yeah. Don't worry. Next month I go to Mary.
Yeah. Mrs. Anna, I know that Peter is
please, no Miss Anna.
Anna? Okay.
Hey, thank you.
All right, Anna. So I know Peter is a chef, but I hear you're a pretty good cook also. Who's better, you or Peter? Who's the better cook?
Εγώ ή εσύ?
Έλα.
Ποιος μαγειρεύει καλύτερα, εσύ ή εγώ?
Δεν τον αφήνω να μαγειρεύσει. Εγώ που θέλω να μαγειρεύω.
In other words, I'm not allowed to cook in the house. When we fight about that a lot, actually.
Right. So she's still the queen of the kitchen. All right, you're off limits, even though it's your vocation, but it's her kitchen. Sorry, so you have to make sure that you listen to your mom when she says stay out of the kitchen.
Yeah.
Του αρέσουν τα ψάρια?
So she's asking, do you like fish, Paul?
Love fish. Yes. Big fish man. Yeah. So if me and my wife came for dinner, what are you making for us?
And I go to Greece and eat the fish. Is terrible. Is it different to here and the Greece?
So ρωτάει το παιδί αν
different delicious, you understand, for the fish.
Yeah. In fact, I know someone who went to Greece recently, and they talked about how good the fish was. The fish was just so fresh. It was awesome over there.
Yeah, and take the gyro.
The gyro.
Souvlaki.
Right.
Very different.
See, now you said gyro, but I think now Peter, you say Hito, right?
Yes. Gyro is a
Gyro.
Yep.
Gyro.
Oh, yes.
See, gyro, that's American. We say gyro in America here.
No, gyro in a Greek.
Right.
Gyro in
Gyro
America.
in America. Yes.
Το παιδί, αν θα έρθει η γυναίκα του εδώ να φάνε μαζί μας, τι θα τους μαγειρεύσεις?
Θα τους φτιάξω spinach pie
Spanakopita to make for you guys.
and moussaka.
Moussaka. Moussaka is a eggplant lasagna style.
You know, it's in a potato,
Right.
eggplant, chopped meat, eggplant, and a bechamel.
Sounds good. Now, so, all right, so we may have to arrange a date, and for us to come, or you can ship it to me too. I also take shipment. So if you want to just have a make,
Oh, no, ταχυδρομικό. No. Είναι, πώς το λένε, αυτό θέλει ψυγείο. Δεν μπορεί να τα έχεις
Σε
έτσι.
περάζει, man. He's joking. You're taking it wrong.
Listen. Να πάρει τη γυναίκα του, να κανονίσουμε τώρα που θα αλλάξει δουλειά. Που δεν θα, μια Κυριακή, να μαγειρέψω και να έρθουν.
So my mother says now she's inviting you and your wife to come over on Sunday to have dinner or lunch with us, and she will feast out for you guys and do another live together.
Awesome. That I would definitely we look forward to doing that. We definitely look forward to doing that. So Mrs. Anna, so I wanted to ask you, how is Peter? I know he takes care of you. He does a lot of things for you. How is he to deal with? Is he nice to you when he's taking care of you? How's Peter's treatment of you? How do you like his bedside manner?
Σαν γιος που σε προσέχω. Είμαι καλός ή είμαι μπάσταρδος?
Oh, she's good. Sometimes you have a lot of nerves. The nerves she's having for the job, you know.
Right.
And I talk, what's the matter, Peter? Leave me alone. And coming upstairs.
Right.
Okay. That's it. Almost. And I go for my doctors.
Right.
And they check and they call me. Now, okay, from this job, no call me. Enter the day. Before, 2-3 times the day.
A day. Yeah.
How's this?
Well, it's a new job too. Yeah, I know it's a new job, and I know he's getting acclimated to it too.
I just changed jobs. I'm currently I'm a chef out of prison right now, but I will be re-changing jobs because I can't stand the job. So the biggest reason I don't like it because I can't bring my phone in. I know people are so creepy, but I have cameras all over the house so I can keep an eye on her. God forbid she's sleeping and she's just sleeping. Okay, I can check the phone. Okay, she's just sleeping, and that's why I have cameras all over the place.
Right.
And, her joke was, "What happened? I'm changing one day, and your camera's facing you. I'm gonna moon the camera." I'm go, I can't win here.
We don't need that.
The camera που έβαλα που δεν σχόνευες.
Oh yeah. Έχω πάει να πάρω τις πιτζάμας.
Oh God, Presto. Go ahead.
Oh my God.
Just say it.
Oh no.
No, say it.
No.
So my mama has chronic diarrhea. Her diarrhea is so bad, so she has to wear diapers.
19 times a day.
Right. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
after is very weak, and I go to the bed, and I use the oxygen. The oxygen is very low. It's terrible.
Yeah. It's certainly as we get older, things happen to us, and we feel not as independent, and given the fact that you're a very independent person, sometimes I can understand the struggle when you want to do certain things, you can't do things to the degree that you did before, but certainly it happens to a lot of us. But I'm just glad to see that certainly you and Peter have been able to persevere through all of this, and that again, we're certainly looking forward, praying for you as far as your recovery, and that certainly your latter years will be good ones, and that your family will be there to support you. So, we just appreciate you being here and seeing you in person. And certainly, again, my wife and I, we will definitely take you up on your invitation to come to dinner. Just try not to overfeed us. All right. So that's
Hey, good luck with that one, buddy.
So I'm just saying, I know Peter's talked about how, folks come over.
Ποιος να ταΐσω.
Το πω και τη γυναίκα του. Μην τους άσεις πολύ παχύνουνε.
Ναι, καλά.
Good luck with that, she said.
Yeah, in fact, Peter said I came to visit Peter, and I guess Peter, he showed a picture of me. You said I was skinny. She said.
Μια φορά σου είχα δείξει φωτογραφία, αν θυμάσαι. Ήταν αδύνατος, μου είπες. Θυμάσαι.
Ποιος?
Τον πω, είχα δείξει μια φωτογραφία. Yeah, she remembered that.
Yeah, so I was skinny. I thought I was a big guy. I'm 230 pounds. So, but I guess
230 βάρος σου. Είναι 230. Είναι
δυνατό.
Ναι.
She wants me 300 pounds, man.
Αφού με 225 είμαι εγώ.
She's 225.
225. Right. So, yeah, for sure. But yeah, don't fatten us up too much. But certainly, we look forward to the dinner. I know you put a lot of love into your food, so I'm sure it'll be delicious. Certainly when we have it. But Peter, I just want to ask you again. First of all, just not to reveal too much in terms of whatever you don't want to reveal. You can do that. So when did things get when you started caring for your mom this way? So she was very independent for a lot of years. When did things change to where you needed to start taking on more of the responsibilities of her care?
So she goes, she's fat but she doesn't eat. That's the problem. And I try to explain to her that's the worst thing you can do when you skip meals. So I started taking care of her actually at a very young age. I just got my license, I remember. And she first got diagnosed. Αυτό το σηκώτσι που λέγεται πάλι?
Liver.
No, το άλλο.
Hemangioma.
She got diagnosed with hemangioma. Was misdiagnosed originally. Said it was liver cancer. So imagine at a very young age in high school, your mother is gonna die. We don't know how much longer she have it. She's dying. I'm freaking. I'm thinking the worst. I'm doing everything I can. So she was still doing her life every single day. My grandma was crying. Fast forward over the years, we found out it wasn't cancer. It's just an inflamed liver. That's what it is.
Okay.
So it's very common. It's called hemangioma. I can't pronounce the word. I apologize out there. So as time went on, now I'm going in my 20s, 25, around there. Between 25 and 30, it was really where shit hit the fan. Her lost her independence of driving. That is the worst thing for her.
Yeah.
Driving. And even to this day, she still thinks she's a backseat driver. Like, Come on, go ahead. I know you got a story. Go ahead.
She's before I'm working and work the factory, and
it was an accident on her hand.
My partner and I push to the button and the machine and I push my finger.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a lot of pain, a lot of screaming. Almost all the machines are working. Nobody hearing to me. The partner, she's stay to and look to me.
She froze, in other words.
You son of a bitch. Call to the supervisor. They come in. I have a lot of pain, and I push to my legs for the machine, and then right hand, and I try. And I put it out my head.
Right.
After pull down.
Wow.
I can't understand. I can nothing. All right. And I go to the emergency. Coming to the ambulance, and I go for the hospital. I have a big problem for my head.
So when this happened, she had a lot of nerve damage. So she went through therapy and all that stuff.
1.5 years, and I go the therapy 3 times a week, nothing. Now, no hold it heavy something. The plate, I can hold it for this.
Right.
The right hand with the left.
Right.
It's a big problem.
Right.
And I have it in the doctor said they give me to the bandage, and they use
It's
it
not bandages. It's bandages with a sling on her finger.
to the
Gotcha.
finger,
Gotcha. Right.
and all for this. Almost for this, I'm sorry, in over there.
I take no offense.
Yeah. And I'm drive, and I go to my friend in the Queens, and one truck,
Semi truck, by
and
the
it
way.
bothered me.
Mm-hmm.
One time back, open the light, close, open, close, open, close.
Flashing,
Right.
in other words.
Pass, open the lights and the signal lights, and they go right, the same.
Mm.
Again, 3 times. The fourth time, and they push more miles, 75, 80, 90,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and they passed, and open the window, I talk, go to hell myself. And like this, my finger.
And she
Right.
said, by the way, she forgets to mention the part. Says, fuck you, go to hell with a condom on it.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
no have a choice.
Right.
All right,
Right.
you have a lot of neighbors. What's the matter? I'm go the drive. Nice. Why only give me to the lights? No like it behind to me. You have a nicer line and a pass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
another time, the small car, the new one. Ήσουν στην Ελλάδα που το πήρα το car αυτό,
Okay.
το Toyota.
Okay.
And
No, Hyundai then. It was Hyundai.
Hyundai, sorry. And I go for the job.
Mm-hmm.
On the highway, front to me in a trailer, almost not close, is open, the flag.
Right. Right. Right.
And I take it, my car, I have a 1 week, buy the new one.
Right. New car. Right. Mm-hmm.
Oh, the stone, and I go to the window,
Oh man.
forget it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm go past, and the horn to the past, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Open the lights, behind nothing. Okay, and they go the past, and they go to the front. Okay, and they push the brakes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, brakes, brakes.
Yeah.
And after stop. See, what's the matter? I'm talking, what's the matter? Look, my car, I have a 1 week new car.
Mm-hmm.
Why not clean to the trailer? Okay, you have
Right.
a lot of big stones over there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's not your business, it's my business. Not your business. Okay, don't worry. I'm waiting to the police in the highway. Somebody 5-10 minutes and they're coming. And they go up and they go for the past. And they go sit you have the steps to the trailer and they go up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to like sit there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not move, of course. And they move to the killing me.
Right.
And they come in the police. I'm talking like this. Please help me. And they come in, say, what's the matter? Officer, look to my window.
Mm-hmm.
My car's only 1 week and I buy the brand new.
Right. Right.
And I talk to the guy, say, no, my business is his business, our business. Please, not give me driver license, not give me nothing, not give insurance, not give me nothing. Say the policeman, relax.
Mm-hmm.
Go inside the car, they relax. Sir, give me the driver license, give me the insurance. Everything expired.
Oh wow. Wow.
After looking to the trailer, say why before they left
Got the cash for
and I clean it up to the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
And look like like
So
stupid.
pretty much the long story short is he didn't sweep his trailer and busted my mom's window. He was trying to get out. So she cock blocked him and said, "Stand on his stairs." You know how you get in the trailer, the cabin.
Yeah. Wow.
He was like, "You're not going nowhere, motherfucker. I'm waiting for the cops."
After I
Wow.
can see the drive and I go my home in the back. I'm talking to the policeman, please. You can help me and I go front. I am back to you and I go my home. Say yes, of course. And I go the home, go in the driveway. After, I have a fight for the insurance for this guy. The trucks, you have it two different insurance. Okay? Then not give me to the second insurance. My bitch husband and I call inside the complaint to my husband. My husband say, listen, no blame to me. I am taxi driver. I know everything for the rules. I give it 24 hours. And they give me my money or pay to the garage. And it cost to me $500 to the change the window.
Right.
Nothing. The third time, forget it. After 3 hours, then check in the garage.
Good.
She's the big mouth. She's ridiculous. You have a damage, okay.
Yeah, you pay for it.
Sorry, text to I'm sorry, and I pay.
Yeah.
Change the insurance, and that's it.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Wow. So it seems like you've been through a lot. You've had injuries, you've had accidents, but you're still here. That's the important thing. You're still here, and you're still overcoming. And again, it's just a sign of your perseverance. Again, you're tough. The fact that you wouldn't let that trailer driver just take off. You stood your ground there, and again, you're a very gutsy individual. And everything again Peter's told me about you is demonstrated there, and I'm able to see it here, and certainly our audience tonight has been able to see that for the first time. And so, certainly,
if anybody in the chat has any questions for her, please let us know. I'd be love to ask her too. She will be happy to answer any questions. Shuley Hizahidia, Megalahidia, espera por la. Tu me diz, Shuley, espera por la que como que deixa matar as palevis. Σαν Sparty, Spartotis που παλεύανε.
Δεν έχουμε choice, πες. Δεν έχω choice.
She doesn't have a choice. She doesn't want to give up either.
Absolutely.
In the Liritis / Vastado, because her last name is Vastado, her maiden,
right.
So we don't know how to give up. Hard-headed, understatement. It's so carefully.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. See, he agrees with it. That's hard-headed.
Yeah.
No, από μικρή δεν έχω μάθει να κάθομαι. Μ' αρέσει να δουλεύω. Αλλά τα έφερε η τύχη έτσι.
So as a young kid, she always knew how to work. Don't forget, my grandmother grew up during World War II when they had everything. So and it continued. So over time, she didn't know anything just to work. You earned everything you get. Talk about it. You earn your car, your house, your wife, whatever. And that's what she knows. She knows how to fight and not give up. And that's what I get it from. That's why I call myself a Spartan, because the Spartan mentality is you do not give up. There is no to giving up. It's just pushing forward.
Right. Awesome.
Ναι, αλλά έχεις τον άνθρωπο και το κάνει respect. Forget it.
All right, so we got a question in the chat here from Enia. What is her favorite Greek known meal to prepare?
So ρωτάει μια κοπέλα, τι είναι το αγαπημένο σου φαγητό να μαγειρέψεις?
Δεν έχω για όλα, δεν έχω πρόβλημα.
She loves all Greek food. Doesn't matter. Greek food is Greek food. She loves it. She also said to me to say to you guys, giving up is not an option. That's how she was raised. So she wants to keep going.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Mike. So they hi. I know they don't know Mike.
Yeah.
Hi, Borinto piece.
Hi, Mike.
My pop culture warrior, my buddy CQ Mike.
Pop culture warrior, just for coming in here. Thanks for stopping by tonight.
Obviously, my mother and Mike go way back, right, Ma? Questo. Τι τρέπεσαι.
Όχι.
Γιατί τρέπεσαι.
Τρέπουν.
Τι τρέπεσαι. Γιατί του είπα, τον ξέρεις χρόνια το παιδί.
Πού τον ξέρω χρόνια.
Το Μάικ, δεν τον ξέρεις χρόνια.
Oh. I'm sorry, Mike.
All right, we got another question from Hunting Wisdom. What is her favorite foreign dish? So if you're not gonna have a non-Greek meal, what's your favorite food outside of Greek food?
Δεν είναι ελληνικό, αλλά ξένο φαγητό. Ποιο είναι το αγαπημένο σου να πάω να σου φέρω τώρα αυτή τη στιγμή?
Για ξένο?
Ναι.
Fried chicken.
All right. All right. More gray area content here. Absolutely.
He goes crazy for it. Like I go, like, Mom, what do you want for dinner? KFC. Seriously? I'm like, yeah.
Okay, so I have to ask her. Okay, KFC or Popeyes?
Το KFC or Popeyes?
Το KFC.
KFC.
Same. My mom also, and my mom she says because KFC, obviously everybody knows it was Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Right.
But my mom always said Kentucky Fried Chicken. Yeah, she could never say Kentucky. It was always Kentucky. I want Kentucky Fried Chicken. So that was her thing for the longest time. But yeah, if I show up to my mom with some Popeyes, she won't eat it. She's like, no, I want KFC. That's it.
The reason she doesn't like it is too spicy for her. And she doesn't like, Ma, you like spicy food?
No.
No spicy food. Okay.
One day, I made spicy mac and cheese from work. So I had some left over. I brought it. It's a chipotle sauce and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So I put it in the microwave. And I go, I'm looking for the next, like, where is my mic? Uh-oh. I look over. She's eating it. She goes, you motherfucker! Te capturó macaroni que tú fuiste catalatos.
We got another question here. Now, Peter, don't blush. Don't blush, Peter.
Go ahead, Paul.
And after to the Papa's chicken, right? Is different tasty.
Yes, it is. No, yeah, okay. It's yeah.
I love seasons, man.
And then the fried chicken to the KFC,
right?
Is understand is a chicken.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay. Another nothing.
I hear you. All
right.
All right. We have another question again. Peter, don't blush. I'm going to put you on the spot here. Okay. Anna, What is she most proud of Peter about? What are you most proud of your son about?
Αν πρέπει να διαλέξει ένα πράγμα που κάνει η ζωή μου τώρα, τι είσαι το πιο πολύ happy εμένα για την ώρα που έχω κάνει μέχρι τώρα στη ζωή μου.
Το περισσότερο που είσαι εδώ και μιλάτε και αυτό είναι
She's actually very proud I started a YouTube channel. Something that nobody in my family has ever thought about. Nobody has actually gone on the limb. And I can't take all the credit for that. So as much as she gives me all the credit, I got to give his credit. He's in the chat right now, Pop Culture Warrior, my man, CQ. He pushed me to do this. So shout out to him. Shout out to you, Paul. All you guys. Go. I cannot do this without you guys' support. Even hers. She has pushed me so much to do this. And she goes, do your thing. Yada. Without you guys' support, I'm nobody. It's a team effort, end of the day.
That's wonderful. All right. So, Anna, I'll make you blush. All right. So, Peter, what are you most proud of your mother?
Well, I'm so proud of her. Her not giving up. Teaching me, if you give up, you're not getting anything out of life. Her being around me. And I know eventually she's not going to be there. So that's the hardest part for me. Right? Λένε τι με έχεις μάθει και είμαι happy ακόμα μαζί σου. Δεν σταματάμε. Παλεύουμε.
Γιατί δεν σου κάνω κουμάντο. It's not bother you why do you spend the money? What's this? What's that? No.
She doesn't boss me around, tell me how to spend my money or like that. She knows. She raised me right to know a value of $1, and that's what she's happy about. Because most people spend money like right and left, buying this, buying that, buying that. No, never like that.
Right. Awesome. Now, I guess final question again. Thank you for being on with. Are we good on time? With her, she's good to stick around.
Όχι, θα πάω γιατί πρέπει να πάω στο bathroom.
She got one or two more questions, and she has to run to the bathroom after.
Okay, so I just have one final.
I am very happy, and I see to you and talk to you.
Likewise.
Right.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Go ahead, Paul. The last 2 questions.
Okay. Actually, I just lost my train of thought here. Let me just get it back. I guess again, I see the dynamic in your relationship. It's a very loving, caring relationship, and passionate. I definitely see the passion there. Talk a little bit about the struggle of obviously Peter does a lot. I'm sure there's clashes, right? I'm sure there's conflict. How do you get past that? And what would you, if you could give any advice on how do you overcome those things to make the relationship work? Because I've seen, in fact, I was going to talk about that a little bit later. This could be certainly stressful for everybody, but you guys have been able to make it work. So what's the thing that helps keeps you guys together? How do you overcome conflicts, and how do you move on, and how do you just keep this thing just keep this thing going?
Εμείς είμαστε ομάδα. Μπορεί να τσακώνομαστε, αλλά πώς το ξεπερνάμε και γίνομαστε πιο δυνατοί?
Το ξεχνάμε, πες.
Just forget about it.
Forget about it.
Forget about it. Short memory. Good. Hey, you know what? See, that's great advice for everybody, because again, we can all hang on to something too long. And, a lot of things we just need to let it go and forget about it. And I did have one final question. This is final question, because I know I need to go. This is from Lou Medic. Thank you for stopping on through and seeing us tonight, Lou Medic. Here's for Anna. This is for you. Do you have a perfect girl in mind for Peter?
Αν έπρεπε να διάλεξεις μια κοπέλα για μένα τέλεια, πώς έχεις καμία στο μυαλό σου?
Όχι, μάνα μου, απλώς να σ' αγαπάει, να προσέχει το σπίτι, να το έχει καθαρό, τα ρούχα σου, αυτό που όπως
είναι. She doesn't care if it's Greek, Spanish, black, whatever. She respects the woman to clean, cook, take care of me, what a wife, how she was with my father, and that's how she wants for me. They're
awesome.
So before we go, I have to ask this question. Μια τελευταία τελειώσαμε, εντάξει. Το μουσι πώς σου αρέσει? How you like my beard?
You be clean shaven like me. Clean shaven.
I like it almost not too high and not too long.
Right.
I thought a little bit short. No.
Yeah.
Here.
No have a choice.
Awesome. Well, again, once again, Anna, again, it's been a pleasure. It's been a blessing to see you and to see that you're in great spirits. And again, we're praying for you that you get better and continue to heal, and just God bless you in everything. And Peter, I mean, God bless you also, brother. I mean, seeing you step up and doing what you need to do. We talk a lot about manhood in these spaces, and I can't think of anything more measure of a man, someone who honors his mother and father in the land of the living. So salute to you, sir, for everything that you do. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right, let me just handle her really fast, and I'll be right back. Let me just take her. Can you handle her?
Yeah. I'll just shoot it. I'll just kind of set up for this, I guess, the next part of the show, and so we can prepare for that. But yes, like I said, this was something. This whole conversation actually was sparked from a grooming show on Thursday night, and we were spinning on a lot. I think the topic was supposed to be totally different, so we just went off. It was me, our pain, lost in translation. I think he had come through And we just started talking over some things, and we were talking about, in fact, just to kind of give you a preview of what's going to be coming up on the next edition of the Gray Area. So tonight we decided to change our topic to parental care. And again, both of us, certainly in positions where, again, I've had to take care of my parents. I'm the youngest of 5. Now, in Grumman's case, again, he's a single child, but I'm the youngest of 5. But I became the primary caretaker of both of my parents. But around 2016, I had to take care of them. And, certainly there's been some struggles with that. There's been some difficulties, but, certainly I grew up a lot. I think in that period between 2016 and 2018 and beyond, I think I might have grew in that 2-year period, I think 10 years in that 2-year period. I also started losing my hair. So again, just full disclosure, why I kind of decided to go bald eventually was that, again, I had the waves and everything of my hair for years, but I just started, losing my hair just with all the stresses that I was going through. And, it got to a point where I decided just to shave my head. But that experience of taking over the care of your parents and making sure everything is well with them, and making sure dealing with the state and dealing with their insurance and dealing with their living options and all those things that are required there, definitely was an experience. So we decided to change the topic up tonight to talk about that, certainly from a cultural perspective. And next week's show, we're going to be talking about death in terms of, death planning. I know Brother R. Payne, he had shared last week that he bought a burial plot, and those plots are starting to get expensive. So, for a lot of people, people talk about, getting a will together and all that, but it may not be too early to start thinking about death planning and death and estate planning and all those things that are involved with that. So we're going to talk about that next. Also, types of death options in terms of burial or cremation because of the cost. We're going to be exploring a lot of that on next week's Gray Area. But I definitely want to spend some time tonight. Again, really dealing on parental care. Again, a lot of us are Gen Xers, but even then, it may not even affect you there because, again, Peter, you said you starting to care for your mom in your teens. Yeah. And one of the questions that I actually had, I want you to have an open discussion on this, was I've seen a lot of some friends of mine have also had to go through the same thing. And one of the things that they've expressed is oftentimes there's a lot of frustration that can come with that. In that, every person wants to be able to grow up, to have their own plans, their vision, to do, career options or ambitions or passions or, those sort of things. And for a lot of these people, a lot of those plans are oftentimes put on hold. And sometimes it's to a degree where at least they feel that opportunities got missed, like they gave up their teens, so they didn't get a chance to do what people, teenagers did because they had to take care of mom. They couldn't go away to college and get the big college experience because they had to take care of mom or dad. It hurt them in their relationships to be able to form relationships, and they felt a lot of ways that their lifestyle or development was actually stunted because so much was heaped upon them at an early age. And they never quite were able to get to what their dreams or ambitions are. And sometimes there's some bitterness that can start to foment when, as you get older. Now you're 40 years old or whatever. And especially, again, if your parents are long-lived, if your parents live, my mom's 86. She's still going. She's in palliative care at this point. She had some foot surgeries earlier in the year. And unfortunately, just given her age, given her she's a diabetic, she wasn't healing, and it was really painful to go through that because from the medical perspective, they just kept usually if you have diabetes, anybody who's had folks who had diabetes, they start to amputate, and it started with a toe, literally a toe, and it just started going from there to where it got to a point where half the foot was taken off. But there was no progress that was being made. So the doctors just kept saying, oh, we'll just keep amputating. And I met with my family and we just made a decision. It's like, no, we're not going to be doing that. We're basically just going to, make sure that she's well cared for. that she's getting the help and the the support that she needs. We didn't put her in a hospice care program. We put her in a palliative care, which is definitely much more, life preserving. Hospice is typically, once you get there, you kind of sort of like, almost acknowledging that the person doesn't have a lot of time left. But no, she's still in great spirits. Her appetite is good. I saw her yesterday. I fed her lunch yesterday, and so she's really good, very positive. Pain has subsided dramatically, because that was the thing too, having to go through those type of surgeries in your mid 80s. Not an easy thing to do, and but she's in a good place. She's supported. I'm literally less than 10 minutes away, and my sister also lives in town here. She's less than 10 minutes away, and she gets a lot of support in order to continue to have function and continue to have life. So, but I've seen for a lot of people, frustration start to build up because they felt that they couldn't go off and do their own thing, that they almost felt that care of parents was like a burden, at least at times. Maybe not all the time, but certainly at times. But I think as they got older and they realized, or they believed, that there was lost opportunity, that they started to have some resentment that built up. So grooming, I just want to, what do you have to say about that? Did at any point in your life, especially since you had to start off so early, did you feel at times maybe some frustration that you had to do certain things, or give up the sacrifices that are oftentimes you have to make when you're caring for a sick parent? So what do you have to say about that?
First of all, I want to say it was never, ever, ever a burden for me taking my mom.
Mm-hmm.
My mother had done, obviously, you saw the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
We heard is that she's done a lot for me. The least I can do is grow some fucking balls and be a man and take care of my mother. I want to get that out of the way. So, young age, I wanted to always join the military, and I had mentioned this on this channel before, my channel, all this stuff.
Right.
Couldn't do that. The one reason was because of my mother. If she got worse or something happened, I might be cross world, or I might be, somewhere deployed, and I asked friends of mine, including pop culture, what happens if your parent gets sick? Do they bring you back? Like, no, they're like, hey, your mom's sick, tough kid, you got to deal with it. I could not take that risk, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I had to do what's best for me at the moment.
Right.
At the moment was me taking care of my mom. So as I was getting older, dating, starting seeing girls more serious, not chasing the cheeks, and girls have to look at me like, you take care of your mom? I go like, yeah, why is that a problem? He goes, yeah, that is gonna problem. You gotta pick your mother or me. Oh, that's an easy pick. That's a very easy pick. I went to, oh, really? You're picking me? Like, no, fuck you. Get the fuck out of my car. You can go walk home now. I didn't drop her off like that. I was at her house already. Right. And I go to her, we're done. Don't ever call me or delete my number. And I drove away. If you cannot respect the fact I take care of my mother and my time is very limited, it's something I cannot get back. It's a limited time on this world I have with her. Yeah, we might bigger argue sometimes, but she's my mother. My ex used to say my relationship is very toxic. I have two people in the chat right now, Mariana and Stacy, who've seen actually Mike too, 3 people, excuse me, who seen my relationship with her. It's not toxic. This is our relationship. Yeah. We might argue better, but that's who makes us us. Our bond is so strong. Nothing can break it. Not even a woman who can try. Good luck out there. You can try to break my bond with her. You got better chances of jumping off the fucking George W. Bridge before you break my bond. That's how much chance is slim to none.
Wow. So, now, do you think that is more so because just tying this back to culturally? Because again, I always try to bring that up anytime I can on the show. How Greeks people look at parental care compared to or native Greeks versus Greek Americans. Do you see a difference in terms? Because I know culturally around the world that there's just certain things that are just like foreign to those peoples. Like no one would even dare in certain cultures to put their mom in a nursing home, for example. It's like that's never gonna happen culturally. A lot of cultures are multi-generational. Like it's normal to have 2 and 3 and sometimes 4 generations all in one house. You certainly see this with Latinos, for example, Asian Indians, and just definitely dynamics. But I know in America, I see that, a lot of times we think differently. Asians in general, the care of the parent is like sacred. It's just not something that's not even questioned. But I think in America or maybe in more developed nations, there's this idea that, look, you're independent. You're supposed to, get on with things. Your parents had their time. Now you have your time, and you need to go out. In fact, I know a lot of people appreciate Kevin Samuels, but even he talked about that when a lot of women would talk about trying to take care of their moms and whatnot, and he was like, no, you're not supposed to care. Mom and dad, they should have took care of their own. You're supposed to pair bond with your man and take your family and go off and do your own thing or whatever. So this idea, I think certainly in America and maybe in other places, the idea of caring for your parents is not universal. I'll just put that out there. So I want to know how Greeks generally in Greece, as well as from what you've seen from Greek Americans, what is just the general view from your point of view in terms of how people approach this topic when you have, and your parent doesn't even have to be sick. I mean, it could just be an older parent, someone who's retired, or when they get to a point where they can no longer live on their own, or even if it's desired. Because like I said, some of these families are just, it's just multi-generational. It's just like, yeah, we want mom and grandma and grandpa to live in the same house or whatever, because it's like, it's good for the kids. It's good. You don't have to hire babysitters. It's just, so again, there's cultures where it's normal to have the parents live with the kids, or you get married and you can go and live with the parents and things of that nature. But here in America, I think there's a bit of an independent streak in people that that might be a little bit different than other perspectives in the world. So from a Greek perspective, what do you see in that regard compared to America or non-Greek Americans that you've seen?
So I have seen Greek like myself, literally from the country, and Greek who grew up American. The one thing we do have similar, we might have a little bit different ideas how you're raised and all that stuff, but we have one thing in common. When our parents get sick or they get older, we're there to take care of them. I don't care if you're raised in America or Greece. That's how Greek culture is, and it has always been like that since I know it. I know a handful of Greeks who are Greek American that were raised and born in Greece and do the same thing I do. Is take care of their parents. So one thing I would say, one culture I know they do similar. Not all of them. So I know this isn't going to be a broad, but it's a rough broad. I want to keep that in mind. Latinos, not all Latinos, but most Latinos would do the same thing. Will take care of their parents.
Right.
Now, when it comes to the Black community, I see a 50-50 mix. Someone say, shove their fuckers in a nursing home, and I disagree with that personally. Or the other half will do what they need to take care of their parents.
Right.
Like yourself.
Right.
So it's a 50-50 mix on that one, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, but like I said, I think here, I think it's more of an American attitude more so than like necessarily a black or white attitude. Again, there's such a feeling in this country when it comes to, again, this idea of independence. And you being able to kind of go off and sort of do your own thing. That, a lot of people don't want to feel confined. They don't want to feel confined to a culture or a tradition. And again, I've seen it with even a lot of, like I said, children of immigrants who, the parents immigrated here maybe like in the 80s and 90s. Now their kids are growing up, and already a lot of the values that may have come from that community, the kids don't want to feel constricted or restricted by that. And so they want the ability to go off and sort of, again, do their own thing. And so, so that's what I'm saying, and again, I want to be, again, as transparent as possible when it comes to that mindset. I know that feeling is out there, because again, I know people personally who've expressed directly to me, tearfully oftentimes, kind of like, well, when is my time? I've given so much of myself. I've given up school. I've given up potential relationships. I've given up money. I've given up a lot of different things. When is my time? When am I going to have an opportunity to go after what I want? But I've always been a servant of, of someone else, always at their pledge. So again, people have just been transparent. And again, I don't necessarily want to discount that. So I certainly understand when people say you just man up and take care of your parents and all that sort of thing.
I'm gonna cut you off a second here.
Yeah.
Because I disagree a little bit. Because
I know you do. I know you do.
Yeah, it's the reason why it's not my time. I still can go out and do my thing and take care of my mom. I can go out, go shoot pool. I can go down to see my buddy in CQ when I want to see him. I can come see you in New Jersey. It doesn't eliminate what I can do. I just got time things because scheduling, not because of my mom and work. We have lives. We're not 20 years old. Say, you know what? Fuck work. I'm gonna go see Paul in New Jersey and go hit Seaside and get drunk and hook up with random chicks. We're grown ass fucking men. Let's be honest here. So you saying that crutch and excuse when it's my time, fuck you to that. That is the biggest bullshit I ever fucking heard in my life. And I'm very passionate about that too, because you can go out there, marry somebody, meet somebody, and start a family as you take care of your fucking parents or your loved ones. I don't give a shit what is going on. I do it every fucking day with my mother. So don't keep me that bullshit. If you do that, you should shame yourself and look at yourself in the mirror and ask for forgiveness from God.
Yeah. And I respect the view. Like I said, I just acknowledge that it exists. In fact, I even hear Stacy B. She says in the chat, 90% of, and because I know she works in healthcare, 90% of the patients I've seen in nursing homes are white. So again, it's not something that's strange here in the country, and especially when you have situations where again people have to work. You're not going to have necessarily both the husband and wife at home if you are married. Or have the time, because it gets to a point where I know the reason why my mom, she's in a nursing home now, but again, it's like right around the corner. I can go there anytime I want. She was in a home program, and again, there's also another backstory that I may need to share in regards to that. But she was in a situation. She was in a home, and she was getting in-home nursing visits. So again, if anybody knows about that, the nurse would come 9 a.m. or whatever, clean her, bathe her, make sure she's fed and everything to lunch. But it got to a point where she wasn't taking responsibility, basically in the afternoon to the evening, there wasn't that care there. And it got to a point where she literally needed round the clock attention. And so because of that, we felt that the best option for her was to put her in a home in order to deal with her, with her health issues. Because there were a couple times when I literally went over to the place at night after work, and she's in the hospital. Or I would get a call at 4 a.m. that she was hospitalized because because with her diabetes, her insulin had dropped so low she went almost catatonic. And so I'm getting a call like 4 a.m. saying, oh, well, your mom is here at the hospital. No one called me, but your mom's here at the hospital. You can come pick her up now. I'm like, what are you talking about? So I wasn't even aware. And I know at one occasion I saw her literally earlier that night, and still things went. So when it got to a point where she needed sort of 24/7 monitoring, that's when the nursing home option became more of an option. And the place that she was actually staying at, they didn't want her there because they basically, long story short, they didn't want to deal with a dead body. You know what I'm saying? It's like they don't want to deal with a situation where, okay, you go in, either the person falls down the stairs, and we put one of those stair lifts in the house. We tried to make the place as accommodating as possible, but they basically were like, we don't want to deal with, somebody coming in and she's dead in the bed or whatever. So they were like, look, we're kind of washing our hands of it. So just looking at the options that were available, that became, the best option. And certainly in my family, they understood the decision that had to be made. And I think certainly at this point, everyone agrees it's the best decision, across the board. I'm the youngest of 5. And so, it was allow her to get the support that she needed and put her in a good place. So, but again, I understand the passion. And like I said, I understand some of this is cultural. And I also understand this just from my family. And it's another topic I want to raise. Some people can't, and some people can't. What I mean by that is some people, to do what you do, or to even do what I do, which I didn't even know that I could do, I think it takes a bit of aptitude. You have to have your attitude right and the patience for it. And unfortunately, we talk about how narcissistic people are. We talk about how impatient people are. Not everyone's built for this. I experienced it, certainly my wife comes from 6, and her mom passed 3 years ago. And there was only a couple individuals in the family that were capable of having the patience to deal with that. Now, again, my wife's mom had dementia, so she was basically gone. I mean, she was, not cognitive, and that's really tough too, because again, your mom, you could tell she's very viral, she's alert, she's sharp and whatnot. But when they start losing mental capacity or physical capacity, paired with that, it becomes very hard, because again, one is your mom, seeing her in her state that they basically forget you, and then having to deal with just the physical stuff. Your mom said, she had to wear the Depends garments or whatnot, but again, helping them to go to the bathroom. I mean, like literally, you're taking care of them like a baby. And there's a phrase that's oftentimes used: once a parent, twice a child. And oftentimes it gets to that point where you're literally taking care of your parents as if they're children. I mean, like I went to the home yesterday to feed my mom. She's on a parade diet, and so I'm literally spoon feeding her all of her meals, and like I have a 2-year-old. And certainly when it gets to that point, not everyone is built for that. And I know I have siblings that were just not built for that. And that's the thing too. Sometimes now for me, it was pretty good in terms of there weren't a lot of conflicts in terms of what you should do, what people should do. It wasn't like people were saying, oh well, mom should live with you or whatever. And I'm like, look, in my situation, it's not going to work well. But you're not offering to take mom either. So a lot of people, sometimes they'll tell you what you should do, but they're not the ones who want to deal with it. But they want to sort of be like the backseat driver trying to tell you what to do in terms of when it comes to the care of the parents. But they don't have the interest, nor the patience, nor the width or whatever to do it. And so, again, not everyone is built for this. So I get your passion, Peter, but you got to understand, you are different.
I'm unique.
Yes. But I'm saying not everyone is made for this. And that's why, again, I would never say to somebody, if you're not the one who could take that on, then, yeah, a nursing home option or something like that might be the best option. Because God forbid, if, we've heard some horror stories where that stuff just doesn't work out well, and it has nothing to do with your age. Again, I'm the youngest of 5. So if anything, I remember at the time, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm the youngest. And, a lot of times in families, traditional families, the oldest child is typically, the successor, you know what I'm saying? Like the next in line. Didn't work in my situation. I'm the youngest, and it's weird because I always tell people I was the one that wasn't supposed to be here, because I'm 6.5 years younger than the next oldest, my brother, and my parents weren't trying to have another kid. But somehow I got here. They won't even try to have me. But nevertheless, I became, again, the caretaker for my parents in their old age. So I credit that to God. I say, God must have knew. It's like, look, the ones that are here, they ain't ready for this. They're going to need another kid if they're going to do something. So, again, I came into the world. That's how I rationalized it. Why aren't other people stepping up? And it's like that question. If you're asking why, then it might be because you're the one who needs to do it. It's not necessarily fair.
The only
but,
question
yeah.
I ever asked myself, and it's not a bad question, why am I the only one? Because my mom had several miscarriages before me. Like I mentioned this before.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I ever asked. Like,
actually, no, I didn't. I know you're the only son, which again makes it more simple for you. But I didn't know that about the miscarriages, though.
Let me get into that really fast before I get into my thoughts. So my mother had 7 miscarriages before me.
7. Oh, wow.
7.
Wow.
And some of them were like weeks before they were born. She blamed American doctors. If she was sitting back here again, you ask her about that, she would say, "Fuck American doctors." She hates them with her passion. So that's why when I came around, she prayed to the Panagia, Holy Mary. Let me have on name of after him. That's why my real name is Panayotis, like anybody else. So she flew to Greece and had me in Greece because she didn't trust American doctors anymore at that point. So the only question I ever ask is sometimes, why only me? I don't have any backup because I know other Greek brothers, Greek friends have each other brothers. They help each other out. Like, okay, I take mom today, you take mom tomorrow, or I take my dad today, you take mom, or whatever the case is. So that's the only thing I ask, or like, why am I only by myself? Because sometimes support will be appreciated because between going to working, I don't work 40 hours, and you know this very well.
Yeah.
People who don't know, I'm a chef, obviously. Chefs work crazy fucking hours. Like last week I did 84 hours in 1 week. So my time is limited, like I said before. So besides saying that, just a little support would make a difference. Like, okay, I couldn't take her to chemo this week. Hey, pretend you were my blood brother. Hey, Paul, can you take mom this week? Yeah, dude, no problem. I got it. You got it next week. So we rotate. It takes a little pressure off me.
Right.
But I'm okay with that. I'll take the pressure. I'll take the fight. It makes me a better man in the day.
Yeah, yeah. But even now, in my case, that same situation, bro, can you take mom? Nah, man, I can't do it. So again, like I said, you got, that's what I'm saying. You have, and again, it happened. I've seen it in a lot of families where it's like, again, you have people, you think, okay, we can split this. Okay, you take Tuesdays and you take Thursdays, and everybody splits it up. And at the end of the day, what they say, the rule of 80-20, right? 20% of the people do 80% of the work. At some point, it always kind of goes back down to center. And I know, Black Man, you were asking earlier, is this hard for me to talk about? Nah, it's definitely, like I said, I had to do a lot of growth and development. Like I said, in my 40s, and I remember saying on another show that I didn't start really feeling really confident in myself as a man until my 40s. Part of that journey was, again, dealing with my parents, where basically I'm the youngest. And I'm sort of catapulted to, look, if this is going to happen, you're going to have to do this. And I had to deal on different fronts with both of them. All right. So my dad, he wasn't necessarily in a bad space, but it was just that, it got to a point where, again, the place where he was at, he had to leave, but he was a senior, well into his nearly 80 years old, and nobody wants to rent an apartment to an 80-year-old. And the senior citizen situation in my area, there's a huge demand for that, and the waiting list on a lot of these options for 2 years. I had to hunt down, literally went door to door to different apartments and whatnot, asking and pleading. It's like, look, I need to put my dad in a home because they're going to, he's going to be out of his place. I need to get him into a place. So I was able to get him actually in my hometown. I was able to get him an apartment there and get him squared up there. Unfortunately, he died of cardiac arrest, about a year later. Just, my sister went by to see him, and he was found in the bathroom. So that was pretty tough. But nevertheless, dealing with that, and I was dealing with my mom. Now, again, the additional caveat on my mom is that my mom she has, mental illness. She's a paranoid schizophrenic. She had it most of her adult life. All of my siblings had to deal with that, which I think is in part why some of the reservation when it came to dealing with her, because they understood how it affected them, how it affected all of us. And so dealing with an individual who doesn't have full faculties and will fight you tooth and nail on things in terms of her care, that's a different thing. So again, grooming your mom is stubborn, but mine, it was like on a different level. And unfortunately, being mentally ill is not a crime, and you can't just institutionalize anybody because of their mentally ill. They have to present themselves as a danger to society in order to get them into services. In fact, unfortunately, I'm sorry to cut you off. I thought it was a danger to society or themselves. Well, both. But she didn't present that way. But clearly, the things that she did, a lot of the abuses, a lot of things that were going on. I mean, they were definitely things that were problematic, but they weren't criminal. And so, so we all had to grow up with that. But it wasn't until she actually assaulted my brother that she got into the system, because obviously they taken her for evaluation, and then she was able to get into the mental health system. But until she actually committed that violent act against my brother, that's what got her in. But no, up to that point, we couldn't just say, hey, Mom, I think, unless she agreed to it, to say, like, Mom, I think you have mental issues. I think you need to seek some help. Unless they realize that, there's really not too much you can do about that, at least not at those times. Maybe the laws have changed since then. But we had to kind of get her into the system. And then we sort of worked the system from there, because she wasn't going to be able to do it as her own volition. Like I said, when you got a parent who might be physically disabled is one thing, but when they're mentally disabled, that's a totally different, because again, ration and reason and this is the best course of action and all those things, that logic doesn't work. And so you have to be a little bit more creative in terms of how you go about making sure that they get the help that they need. And a lot of that stuff they're going to resent you for. You talked about taking the car away. My mom essentially disowned me when I had to take her car away, because she was, her health started to decline, and she got into an accident at going into a parking lot or something like that. And it just got to a point where even her doctor said, look, you're done. I mean, and so I had to start the paperwork and procedures to get, to have her license revoked. And when she found out I got her license revoked, it was like, I'm not your, you're not my son anymore. I mean, but it had to be done, because again, she was starting to, become a danger to those around her. She had a car that she wasn't making payments on, but she still had the car. I had to bail that out to make sure that she kept the car. In fact, the car, once I was able to get it, I actually gave it to my brother, because again, she was incapable of driving. He needed a car. But again, he wasn't capable of necessarily barely taking care of himself, let alone taking care of another person. So like I said, so I got several, again, family members who were, kind of in that kind of situation. Some of it was distance. I got a couple people who live on the West Coast, so that wouldn't work for them. And so, yeah, so just by process of elimination, if things were going to happen for both my parents, I was the one that had to do that. But I was already married. I was already had my career established, and I'm very grateful, certainly to my former employer, because there were times I was like, look, I got to take some time off. I got to make sure that my parents are square. I got to go to the Social Security office. I got to go to the doctor. I got to go to this place. I got to get to that place. So they were very accommodating in terms of allowing me to take the time that I needed to make sure that my parents were squared away. So I wasn't one of those people who was like, okay, I'm a teenager and I can't do certain things because, I got to take care of them. I was able to certainly get on and establish myself until later on, when certainly became important that I had to step in. And but there was definitely, it was definitely stressful. But it certainly could have been, I think, a lot worse. I think with my siblings basically enabling me to do what I needed to. Like I said, you always got the occasional, well, you need to do this, you need to do that, or whatever, and I would just sort of just override it. And they all kind of came to, I think once they trusted that I was making good and wise decisions, a lot of those, early discussions stopped, because they realized, okay, oh, he knows what he's doing. Okay, now I see what he's doing and whatnot. And so I basically became, sort of a leader in that regard. But I've heard situations about, how are we going to take care of Mom? No, we're not going to put her in a nursing home or whatever. Or, okay, well, why don't they live with you? Oh, well, why don't they live with you? Oh, she can't live with me. Why? So it's like the parent is like a hot potato in terms of, they don't want to take that on. And again, like I said earlier, I think this is more so an American issue, more so than I've seen in other cultures, where it's not like even a question in terms of you're going to take care of whatever, your parents, whether they have mental illness, whether they have physical disabilities or whatever. It's just understood. But in America, or for the typical American, that's not always. It's not always going to be the case. So I think it's a sort of a plight on the culture, on American culture. If you can criticize American culture to a degree, I certainly think that would be one of the criticisms of the culture here. But it is a reality that I know personally people have had to deal with, And again, not everyone's built to handle it. So I did a long soliloquy there, but you can follow up on anything that you want to say on that.
So when it came down to her license, it was a slow transition. It wasn't like you did the paperwork and you had to take it away from her. So it was her. She knew she was getting worse and she couldn't drive as much. Her knee
Right.
mostly, and it was like slowly me taking over. And eventually, it got to the point like, yeah, I'm not gonna take you renew your license. There's absolutely no point in doing that.
Mhm.
And she didn't fight me. Years
That's
later,
great.
she goes, I should renew my license. Like, nope. But I need a license. Like, no, you don't. But nope. And it's just simple conversation. And she understands she can. As much as
Right.
she would love to get it behind the wheel and drive down to the store and buy whatever. No, with my credit card, thank God. But it just, the point is, I get it. Her independence just left just like that.
Right.
And that's what it is, independence. And like, I remember when getting my first wheels and my license, I was like, woohoo, freedom, yay. And that's it. And that wasn't a fact for me. It was, now you got wheels and freedom, but you got more responsibilities. Now go take mom to the doctors.
Right.
Now make sure you follow up. Go pick up her medication. Now go to the store, get the stuff. Now you have cooked dinner for her. What? You're not done. Now laundry. Oh, you got, also don't forget, you got to prep for tomorrow's food. I'm like, okay, I'm good. Now I can sit down and play the game. And like, then the phone goes off. You look over, is your mother calling from downstairs. I'm like, go downstairs and like figure out, like, get the idea. I know I'm just making weird sounds and faces, but even us, me and you as caregivers, we do get frustrated at times.
Dude, that's what I was. Yeah, that's what I was getting at. And like, listen, I mean, obviously we're doing the job, but again, I want us to be transparent also, and talk about that. You know, it does. It's not easy. Going with it. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
My frustrations with my mother is she does not listen to doctors, because she originally she's majored in being a doctor, because a nurse in Greece years ago. So a part of her test was she had to do an examination on a corpse. She ran out of the fucking room fast as bad as hell. She couldn't do it.
Right.
But she thinks she still is up to date with everything.
Right.
Facts or not, she's not up to date, because there are a lot of things in the Greek culture, in the medical field, that is different. Like eating, for example. Fasting is not healthy for a diabetic. We know that now. Right. You have to eat small meals. She sits there with a big ass plate like this big. I'm like, man, it's not good. Like, the funniest one, when she got first got diagnosed with COPD, they told her you got to use your oxygen. She goes, I'm not fucking using that. I'm like, yeah, you don't have a fucking choice, lady. She goes, there's nothing wrong with my lungs. My oxygen and lungs are not the same thing. Yeah. So you telling me, how do you breathe? With air, where the air goes in my body, and where it processes it into, and she will not say it, and she knows right. To this day, she argues with me like her lungs and oxygen are two different things. And I get where she's coming from. She does not want to admit she's getting sicker. Her biggest argument I had with her, when she's getting, okay, I see red flags. Okay, I gotta get her into a hospital. Right. Like when we first started the show, we remember the one time I had a rusher too there.
Yeah, I do.
And she was fighting me to the nail. I'm like, Ma, let's go. I'm like, nope, fuck that. Ma, let's go. For 5-6 days. She's in extreme pain. I finally get her in there. And the nurses go, why didn't you bring her sooner? I'm like, ask her. And she curses them out usually.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to be there. So once she's feeling a little better, and she goes, okay. She gets up, getting dressed, like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm going outside for a cigarette. I'll be back. I'm like, you're not going out for a fucking cigarette. Now vaping. And like, you're not going out for, you hit your vape. Fuck that. Sit your ass down. And like, her biggest downfall, and this is my biggest frustrations too, also her, is her cigarette habit.
Okay, so she still smokes. Yeah.
She vapes, so it's better than smoking. It's not good for you still.
Right.
But my frustration is like, she knows it's bad for her. She goes, this is the only thing I have is my TV and my cigarettes. And I'm like, that's not an excuse. And she continues puffing away. And I'm looking at her like, that's not helping the situation.
Right.
She got to the point like her habit was so bad, she would probably kill somebody for a cigarette. That's not even questions about it. I remember she always had a we called it an emergency bag, but it was like her go-to bag kind of thing. She had some underwear in there, some clothes, just in case you got admitted to the hospital. We always had an emergency bag, even to this day. The one time I didn't check it, and I bring it to her, and I see something, like white, weird. I'm like, my mom used to smoke Marlboro like 100s. The filter's white, the whole thing's white. I'm like, what the fuck is that? I'm looking at it, and like. And I'm literally wrestling her to get her out of her hands. Finally win it, the wrestling match, because I'm like really stronger than her. I found a cigarette, and it's half burned. She went in the fucking bathroom in the hospital and it took some hits off that thing. I looked at her like, do you know how dangerous that is? Like, it's not dangerous. What are you talking about? I'm like, this whole hospital has oxygen. You know what happens to oxygen? Nothing. When Victoria blows up, yeah. She goes, I'm on drugs. And she wants a drug test on me. That's how hard-headed she is.
Yeah.
Sometimes it depends what is the situation. I have to diagnose every situation differently. Some of them I have to sit down and talk to her calmly like I am now. Some of them I have to get a tense voice in me. And some of them I have to yell. Because you don't get through to her sometimes. You have to see how the situation is.
Right.
And I hate doing that. But I have to. People look at me, you're mean to her. Like, I'm not mean. You don't understand. It's my responsibility to keep her on this planet as long as it's goddamn fucking possible. And people always go to me, your mom's you have to come to terms she's dying. I'm like, I don't have to come to terms with it. As long as she's screaming and kicking like she is now, and you see how she is, she was live with us, she's gonna be with us for a while.
Yeah.
I already had this conversation with her. When she gets really bad, she knows I won't do it, and she has asked me, that's one of her wishes. She goes, if get to the point I cannot take care of her and I need 24-hour assistance, then put me in a home. But my plan is something different, and she doesn't know this. And tough shit. Is I am going to eventually buy a house as a mother-daughter house. She has her downstairs part, and I will have mine upstairs. I'll get a nurse instead. Come to the home. If the nurse tells me I cannot do this at home anymore, you have to put her at home, then I will. That is the very, 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 very last option. I'm not going to do it like, put a nurse in home. I remember one doctor goes to me, and I know the doctor. I used to work with him because I worked at that same hospital. He recommended me put her in a hospice. And that was the hospice that people go to die.
Yeah.
I go, you're fucking joking with me, right? Because my mom knew he was Turkish. So, the Greek Turks thing that was going on. The motherfucker's doing it because I'm Turkish. I'm like, Ma, shut up. Back to you now. Then go talk to you outside. I go, this is not fucking happening. Shut up. I go to him like, I can report you. Go fucking ahead. I don't care. I get another job. Simple. I'm a fucking chef. It's not that hard to get a cooking job. I go to him, you're on drugs because she's not that bad. And when people hear it, he's really going to do that? I go, yeah. He runs hospice department. He goes, oh, we see where this is going. More people he has, more money he makes end of the day. I go, it doesn't work like that. You're not going to put hospice somebody because you don't want to diagnose them correctly. And that's my issue with doctors. Some doctors don't diagnose people correctly.
Right.
The one doctor that I call her an angel is Dr. Shen. Dr. Shen is my mom's cancer doctor. She has taken care of my mom so well. And I have looked at her. I go, and I said to her straight up like this, Dr. Shen, you're an angel in my eyes. Her being a smart ass. And she goes, I'm married, right? I have kids. I'm like, no, not like that. I go, Dr. Shen, you saved my mom's life. There's no bullshit there. Let's be straight up. Not once, but twice. And her comment was, we need to stop meeting like this. I go, I agree with you. But as long as she's under her care, I'm good. And we have already put a plan in effect. What's going to happen after she's done her treatment? Recovery. 2 years. She's going to continue seeing her. Now, after because colon cancer takes 2 years to come back. Usually the first round, if it comes back, it'll come back in the first year, and it did. That's very common. Now, the second round usually doesn't come back. If it doesn't come back, it'll be in 2 years. If it doesn't come back in 2 years, she's free sailing.
Right.
So she knows my plan. Like, eventually, I want to move out of PA and move to Maryland.
Mhm.
She goes, I have a lot of associates, family members of mine who are doctors in the same field that I'll highly recommend we take over the care from your mother for me.
Mhm.
Because she's not going to move to Maryland because
Sure.
just for my mom. Let's be honest.
Sure.
But there's always a plan. This is to show people in nursing home, personal. I worked in nursing homes. Stacy worked in nursing home. They're not that as good as you think they are. A lot of them.
You gotta stay on them. I mean, that's definitely.
That's
we were
what it is. Yes.
Yeah, we were fortunate.
That one I worked. I was called fellowship.
Right.
From the food part of it, I hands down there. I could be honest. I was one of the chefs there. I get it. It was good. Now, if you talked about the care as a CNA or nurse, and hopefully Stacey can jump in any minute into this if she's still watching. Sometimes it depends what floor you were on, how good it was.
Yeah.
But most of it, I say 95% of what I saw was great.
Yeah.
But I worked another one. They needed assistance. Was public. I'm like, not happening.
Yeah.
My father's unfortunately in a assisted living because my parents in the same house is Vietnam / World War III / nuclear.
Yeah. I heard your mom talking a little bit about. So definitely.
Thank you for not bringing him up because you saved me a headache.
No. I think in telling one of the stories, I think with the last accident or whatever, I think she had referenced your father and
she will reference him, but she doesn't like talking about him. If that makes sense.
Right.
So, David, can you highlight Stacey's comment really fast before I move on, please? Because she made a comment, I want to bring it up really fast. So as he's doing, I want to finish. The care he is in the public, it's horrible.
Who again?
Stacey B79. Can you highlight her comment? The last one, the last two. Bring the first one up first. So the care was good, but the department's
it does,
and that is facts.
Yeah,
that is facts. And she worked there 15
plus
true. Years, I believe.
That is true. Yeah.
So that is facts.
Yeah.
It depends. It really depends on your nurse. End of the day, who's taking care of you? If she just gives a shit about her job and cares, or she's there for a fucking paycheck.
Yeah. But then you certainly, as a certainly as the child, again, you got to follow up. I mean, certainly, I remember when I was shopping for a nursing home for my mom. We went to several places, and some of them were like, this is basically, it's like hospice. Like you're waiting for death. You went through there and you saw the people in there, and it just looked like it's just a place for folks to die. Very little care. Folks are just like, the people were just there and whatnot, so it just didn't feel good about the place at all. But the place that she was at, it was actually a rehab because she had actually had a stroke, so she was in the hospital for a minute, and so when she came out, that's where she was convalescing. But then, they had an option, so we can flip this from just a rehabilitation setup to a long-term health, living arrangement. So I was able to make the transition and make sure she stays there. But even then, you still need to follow up. You need to make the appointments. Like every month, there's a meeting, or at minimum every quarter, there's a meeting. You need to show up. You need to meet with the doctors there. You need to meet with the program directors there and the nurses there. Address any issues that might be on the floor. Ask probing questions. You need to be an active participant. But again, for a lot of people, and this is what I talked about, the ones who can't, for a lot of those people, they literally just put them in there just to drop them off because they just don't want to deal with it anymore. It's unfortunate, but that's a real.
So in my case, it was because my parents can't be in it, and I can't afford to have them in, have another apartment for him. But my plan eventually is I'm actually in the process of looking for a assistant living in the area to bring him up here. That because he's on his common assistant living to the state in New York. Right. So I know New York offers that too. So I'm New York, PA, excuse me. So I'm in the process of looking into that right now.
Yeah,
that's plan number one. The second thing I seen also is two stories from my father. My father has been hit by a car. So ever since he got hit by a car, he's not had the same strength in his legs. So he has fallen down a couple times. Then nobody has called me. The last one, I just had enough of this shit. So I walked in there bad in hell, and I looked at her, and the secretary, get your fucking director out here right now. She goes, get your fucking director. She heard me come. She runs down, like, what is the problem, Mr. Little? I go, abuse of residents. Her eyes opened up. He goes, how do you know those words? You're not supposed to say those out loud, Mr. Little. Submissive is bullshit to me. And let's have a conversation right here. It goes, let's come out. No, we're going to have it nice and open so everybody can hear. These camera phones are really good and beneficial to me right now. And she knew I wasn't fucking around. So now she says, I recommend who has a conversation. No, we're going to have it right now. I will refuse to go in her office because I knew for a fact once I go in her office, I'm in her world. When we stay in the lobby, we're in my world because now everybody's watching who's going in and out, visiting their loved ones. Yeah. So my father folded. You don't contact me. You didn't take them to the hospital. You do nothing. Yeah. Ever since then, they contact me. Except the one time. Same in my place. One time that my father had some chest pains. They took him to the hospital. Stayed there. He ended up having an open heart surgery. They didn't know what the hell my father is. I'm looking for him. So I end up calling everybody. So I made a couple calls. I'm in the middle of work. I can't just leave work whenever I want to. I have her treatments coming up. I have 1 day a week off now. So I finally make a couple phone calls to people. You know, my buddy Dimitri looks into it. He rushes. He goes, dude, no, I got you. I go, dude, this is I owe you 10. He goes, no, you only owe me 2. We're not 2. We don't count the other 9. I go, the fuck. Anyway, and so he finds him. He goes, dude, your dad had open surgery. So I'm like, excuse me. Now, the same thing comes out at me. Yeah. So the conversation me and her had, the director, she didn't like what I said. I said, this ever happens a third time, I'm not going to have this phone call with you anymore. But no, Miss Alerts to me anymore. I went to her. The next time, I am calling the state on your ass and filing a complaint so big, it's going to be up your fucking ass. I went to her, going to be out of your fucking mouth. Are we clear? Crystal, she goes to me. And I hanged up on her. You have to be a motherfucker sometimes. You got to go in and make sure that you get what you need. And they call my mom. My mom could like take any kind of fall and whatever. They call me, no hospitalization, whatever. They're pretty diligent on letting me know anything that's going on with her. Again, relationships. Relationship with the nursing staff. They should know you like on a first name basis or whatever. It's like, hey, Paul's here, or it's you got to have that. And again, advocates. Again, my oldest sister. She's always been, pretty responsible in the family. She's, she's also big on that in terms of following up. I like to bring her in when we have meetings with the home because she can ask like very probing questions on things. So she's really good to have, to pick up on things that I may miss. And also she's a lot better with the, what do you call it? The bedside, than I am. I'm certainly much more on the business end. So I make sure the bills are paid. I make sure the paperwork is done and all the logistical stuff that needs to be done. I make sure I take care of that. But she gives a lot more of the personal touch when it comes to things that I do. And again, my oldest sister, she went through that process, but she went through it with her husband's mom. So again, they had a situation where the husband's mom lived with them for until she died, and at the same time, the husband was also battling cancer. So she had a lot on her plate. So when it came to sort of my time, it was almost like with her, it was like, look, I don't have enough to give. Well, she poured out in terms of making sure that her husband's mom was taken care of, and then she had to care for her husband. So for her, it was like it took her a minute. Now she's a lot more involved now, I think, with my mom and making sure she gets to bedside and things are done, which I really appreciate. But she was just empty, and again, it wasn't fair to ask her to kind of go and do again what she had to endure for several years before her mother-in-law died. But yeah, definitely, if you got folks in a home, again, definitely do your due diligence as far as searching for a right facility. Ask as many questions when they're in a place. Make sure you follow up. Again, those appointments or whatever, those status meetings or whatever, whether it be, and now certainly since COVID, you can do it online or you do it in person.
or what have you, make sure you make those appointments if you have the situation. And certainly tonight, I know me and Grooming, we've been sharing certainly on this. But again, I know just canvassing the crowd. A lot of people have older parents. If you've been in that situation where you become the primary caregiver for your parents, what's that been like for you? Frustrating, a blessing, for you. How do you been able to manage that? Has it impacted you in certain ways? Do you feel sometimes some of your life has been away from you? Again, I'm not here to judge anybody. Your feelings are your feelings. I may disagree with them, or certainly Grooming would definitely disagree with them, but certainly we have to still deal with the real, because again, not everyone's been built for that. Not everyone's equipped for that, and again, for the person that takes that on, it does, even for them, it does take a toll. And it's not strange when the parent eventually does pass, that there is a sense of relief because of the burdens that they had to carry in that. I know we were hoping to have on tonight. In fact, if you ever go back and find No Captivity with Freezy Grooming, he did an interview with Security Boss a couple years ago, and it just blew me away. This guy was taking care of his mom since like 17 years old. I don't think he finished school, and took care of her until he was like 40, in his 40s or something like that. But again, very powerful interview.
Similar like me, I was going to want to go in the military and I couldn't because of
but he did, like, I mean, when you talk about he did everything. Yeah. Right. So again, shout out. I mean, my respect for No Captivity went up tenfold once I heard that. If anyone hasn't heard that interview, I highly recommend that you go back and watch that because it was definitely an incredible story of what he had to of what he had to do. That again, a lot of people again just couldn't take that on. But go ahead, Grooming.
So one thing I want to advise everybody: if you have to put your parents in a nurse home, it's fine. I understand it's not for everybody, and I'm being realistic now. I'm not gonna be passionate like I was before, but take my advice. I think Paul agrees with me with this. Be on their asses like what on rice. Literally.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't recommend doing it through emails, phone calls, and personal.
If you can go in person, you got to get
the fucking eyes.
Yeah, got to get them into a room. Well, it's like anything else. It's like, but that's the problem. Also, again, we're becoming less, communication, right? Everything is virtual or texting or emails or whatever, and you need to have that one-on-one interaction, that in-person interaction, that subtle language that you can't necessarily see. Now, it doesn't have to be every single time. But it needs to be frequent. It needs to be often. It needs
at
to
least
be
at first. It needs to be at least more than once.
Well, even then, people can take a break. I've noticed the times if I kind of let the pedal off the gas a little bit. Like I said, the only time I've done it in recent times because my sister, again, she's pretty good at that, so she can kind of fill any holes or gaps that I may miss. But yeah, staying consistent and knowing. And in bottom line, your parents is going to get better care. I mean, when they know that they're going to have to deal with you, they're going to treat your parents right more so than not just not to deal with that.
I want to address a couple of these comments. One from What We Know podcast.
Shout out, man. Thanks for joining us tonight, brother. Appreciate you.
Yeah, definitely. Turn it down, and hopefully you keep your head shiny out over there.
7B brother, man.
Yeah, Black David, can you highlight the first one when he says about family together, please? Like, you better not be sleeping over there. So we're gonna come to New York and slap you. You're slowing my show down, buddy. And I'm gonna fucking read it.
Yeah, dude. I'm just gonna read it. So he says, "This is why family togetherness is imperative to our communities." Absolutely, because
I agree 100% what he's saying there too. Because it should not always, but it should bring your family and communities closer. What? About fucking time, David. So that's my thing. Can you go to the next comment, please? This is one that I really
before their transition. Yeah.
Yes, that's what should be it. But unfortunately, I seen it working in hospitals. It's not always that factor. I seen it working in nursing homes. It's not always a factor. You have to make sure you're doing your job as the loved one, as the child or grandkid, whatever. You have to make sure you fall in love. Are they comfortable? Are they this and that? You have to make sure that. David, can you do Stacey's next one, please? You want to read it, Paul? Or want me to do it?
Yes, I've seen a lot of patients there and never have visits from their family until the holidays hit. Yeah, that's a real thing.
And that
Like I
bothers
said,
me.
yeah, it bothers me also. But again, a lot of it is again the person's the person's capacity or character is lacking when you see that situation. But at the same time, no, for a lot of these people, again, they just don't have the aptitudes, or there's a lot of trauma there. Now, again, just to kind of give you, I talked about it earlier, the fact that my mom had mental illness for most of her adult life, and what the kids went through with that. It took me a minute to get to a point. Certainly, and I'm grateful to God that I'm in this capacity now to see the perspective differently. Because again, myself and my siblings, we had to endure a lot with our mother. She could be an angel, but she could be a demon at the same time. And a lot of the abuse that we took, physical, mental, the whole line, it took a minute to get to a point where you can let a lot of that stuff go. And so for a lot of the, we got to be real. Not every parent-child relationship is a good one. There's dysfunction. There's parents and children haven't spoken for years, estrangement. All those things are real things that we can't necessarily dismiss. There was a show, I think a barbershop a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about that. I think this pastor in the church, he was giving this Mother's Day message, and he was basically telling the kids, "Oh, you need to thank your mom for everything she did for you, whatever. And yeah, maybe she wasn't the best mom to you, yada yada yada. And you need to just get over it and go and call your mom and whatnot." And I was just making the case that look, there were for a lot of men, especially, there were things that our moms did to us or our parents did to us that was abusive. And those are things that you just can't just say, just get over it on. No, I mean, counseling, therapy, that repair of those relationships a lot of times takes some work, and some things a lot of people just don't get over. And I think we got to be real about that. So again, Mother's Day, not everyone's loving mama on Mother's Day, or their father. Father's Day's next Sunday. Not everyone's in love with dad on Father's Day. All right. So again, when there's generational or certainly those kind of relationship divisions, it makes it a lot harder when it comes to making sure that you're operating in your parents' best interest. If you have sibling disagreements, especially when it comes to disagreements over their care, then again, that can cause a lot of issues when it comes to that parental care that's needed. So again, holding the community together, the relationships, all those things are going to be important if you're thinking about the best interest of the parent. Just like when we talk about what's in the best interest of the child, how many times have we seen these spaces where the mom and dad are doing all this nonsense or whatever, and the child is being impacted by that. No one thinks of the best interest of the child. Well, likewise, a lot of people don't necessarily think about the best interest of the parent because of all that beef that's going on.
I want to touch base on this really fast. This is really important. Why? So when 3 years ago, when she first got diagnosed, actually, I'm backed up about 2 years ago, was it? Yeah, 2 years. Was it 3? Around the time of her cancer, my aunt passed away with brain cancer. Actually, was it when her cancer? I remember her cancer came back. I'm sorry, my brain just took a shit for me. Is my aunt? At first, when my mom first diagnosed my cancer, all my cousins were like, put her on a nursing home. Yeah, like this. Listen, guys, you don't worry about it. This is my problem. I got this. So they didn't like that. So they didn't want to talk to me. Okay, cool, whatever. So we found out my aunt had brain cancer, stage 4. She only had XYZ days to live. He was advised not to give chemo. He argued with the doctor, got chemo. She was dead in 3 days. So the argument we're having at the point was, your mom needs to be in a nursing home. I'm like, fuck you. I'm not putting in a nursing home. I know what I'm doing. I'm good. I am straight. I'm cool. So long story short, my cousins won't speak to me because I didn't kick my mom on the street. So we have talked a few times, and every time we talk, it's like 2 years we talk, 1 year we talk, 6 months we talk, and there's always argument about property and grease and stuff like that. Yeah, yada, whatever. My point is trying to get to is fuck you. Simple as that. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I know he's probably watching some of this stuff. So if you're watching last, go fuck yourself. Because I'm doing the right thing. I know I'm a good man at the end of the day. I know what I bring to the table. And whoever decides to be with me, friends, wife, whatever, they're getting the world from me. And I think you can agree with me, Paul.
No, absolutely. But that takes again, a special these days, right? Because again, the culture doesn't necessarily support that multi-generational model that we were talking about earlier. That you find in another culture. Yeah.
And like, when it came to his mother, he took care of her, left her in the house and everything. Same thing with my other cousins, any other ones. But all of a sudden, my mom is the evil one. Kick her on the fucking street.
Yeah,
I know where this is coming from. If my mother dies, the property, she's the last survivor member of my family. They cannot sell the property without her signature. And she gets the biggest cut. Now, if she dies, I get only a small cut. You see where the fight is and say, hey.
Yeah. So like I said, it's not in good faith. It's not in the best interest of her. There's always a personal interest. And we haven't even talked about, again, we may talk about that next week when we talk about the death show. So again, for those who are joining us tonight, again, this show is dealing with, again, parental care. Next show, we're going to be talking about death and how cultures treat death. What about death planning? Wills and trusts and funeral costs and all those things. We're going to be talking about that on next week's Gray Area show, so certainly be sure to join us for that. Also, I need to make a correction. Thank you, Anania. Thank you for the correction. That interview with No Captivity with Freezy, it was on Candid Ann's show. So look up Candid Ann and look up her interview with No Captivity with Freezy. It was not Security Boss. I stand corrected. But thank you for that. Thank you for that clarification. On that. But yeah, I mean, when people have just bad intentions, and it's like, it's like, these are your again, the children that you raised. And a lot of times, it's their mindset and attitude that they have, but then again, how they were raised. I mean, bad parenting oftentimes produces bad children, the bad product. So again, there's a lot of layers there, and I think there's a lot of families that need, again, that counseling, that whatever, that interaction to really try to bury, to bring to life some of these issues that have driven wedges in families and driven families apart, over time. And but again, it's but there's also an aptitude. Like I have the conversation with my daughters now. I was like, okay, so when your mother and I mean, we're relatively fit people. We try to stay in shape, we work out, we do everything, but it's going to come a point in time where there's, someone's going to have to take care of us probably at some point in time. And so we'll ask the question. It's like, who's out of you three, who's the one who's going to more likely take care of us? And I already know it's not probably going to be my youngest one. I love her to death. But she's got a lot more maturing to do if she ever gets to that level to take care of us. So it's like, it's kind of like, that's not an easy decision for some people to make. But those are conversations, especially if you have adult children. Those, I think, are conversations that you really need to have. Who's going to take care of mom and dad? Get the family together at the next gather round and talk about what about our future arrangements? What kind of care are you looking for? Speak now in your 50s and 60s and 70s, as long as you have your faculties. Make sure you speak up in those times if there's a certain amount of care that you want for your children, or certainly your niece and nephew, whoever's going to be taking care of you, for them to implement. Speak now. Now, the last point I want to make tonight is we're nearing the end of the show. Let me just ask you directly, Grooming. Do you have power of attorney?
No, I done it on purpose, actually.
Okay, so I'm saying I'm suggesting to you and to everyone else, especially if it gets to a point where your mom cannot make, and certainly it was relatively easy with my mom just because of her mental health issues. It's better sooner than later to get that done. while she still has the faculties to do that. It may not apply necessarily in your case, but I'm saying just in general, when your parents get to a certain age, getting power of attorney so that you can operate on their behalf when it comes to all kinds of decisions is an important piece. And do it while they still have their faculties to do it. We had almost a 2-year window where had I not did it what I did, it would have been a lot more difficult to get the care that my mom needed. But
I agree.
You can explain your situation.
Here's why I didn't do it. When I was working for Lehigh Valley Hospital, I talked to the president all the time. So me and her were cool. And she was using my kids. If he was fresh. So I pulled her on the side, like, hey, let me ask you a question. You know more about this legal stuff than I do. He goes, yeah, what's up with you, Pete? Explain to her I want to get a power attorney. She goes, no. Like, why? State of Pennsylvania, if you're a power attorney, something happens, you're liable for all the money. So to say her bill is like $80,000. Her bill right now is $75,000 at the hospital. I can't afford none of that because it keeps going up. I'll be liable for every penny of that. That's why I says don't do a power of attorney. Just keep going as long as you can like this. And when time comes, you need a power, come see me. It's always option 3 and 4. Let's figure it out then. This is why I haven't done it. And that's why you have to check your states. That's very important. Every state's different. I hate to say it's an American thing. Every state's different. In Greece, there's only one law across every fucking state. Somebody explain that to me one day. I don't understand it, but that's a different story.
Is power of attorney, is that even a thing in Greece?
In Greece?
I mean,
no.
Yeah.
I'm going to double check with my mother, but I don't ever heard of that shit. Like, it goes passed on from generation to generation. Simple as that.
Right.
As long as you write it in somebody's name, like when I fucking kick the bucket, it goes to Paul, for example, or to Peter, or to JT, or Tarzan, or BMU, or whatever. That's what matters, as long as it's in writing.
Right.
Pass on, because you might have 3 kids, 4 kids, 10 kids.
All right. But like I said, I mean, you're still in a good place because, again, your mom, for the most part, I mean, she can be stubborn at times, but for the most part, she has her faculties.
Yeah.
But like I said, if you get to a point where if your parents, again, 60s, 70s, you know, we all know about dementia and we all know about Alzheimer's and things like that. They start forgetting things. If that becomes something that's diagnosed and you start to see those things starting to happen, I think you need to be mindful of that and start weighing that decision, risks aside.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. One thing I want to touch base on, I mentioned earlier when I was with my ex, we used to argue about mom's relationship. That was a very selfish move from her. I'll explain to you why. When it came to her parents, she would jump like, oh, I'm the only girl. I gotta go take care of my parents. But I'm the only child. And she should scream, just, this is not healthy. You should be on your own, and she should be in a nursing home. But it's okay for you to do that. Keep in mind that out there. Whoever is like you, if you're going to take care of one parent, and you're going to agree with me, Paul, on this, your wife or husband, you have to take care of their parents too eventually. It goes both ways, not one way.
The reality, it's very logical, it's practical. In the United States, people feel a whole lot different. I've been in marriage groups and meetings about that where, again, if it's her mom, it's no question about the care that's given. If the mom wants to live with them, all that stuff, hey, that's my mama. If it's his mama, then we're talking about all these other options. Now we're talking about nursing home. Now we're talking about everything else. Again, people can be extremely self-centered when it comes to this topic.
I totally agree.
So again, I said, I get you, but it's not a given. We're talking about this stuff. It's just a given. And for a lot of Americans, especially, it's not a given, you know? So again, the person that you pick amongst your dating and courtship criteria, you better know who you're dealing with. Because I've seen it way too many times where that stuff is to they'll be selfish with their parents but not his. Now again, what we know, Paul Katz is saying the best way is to have a will notarized. Certainly you can. That's an option you can do. As a
great option, actually.
Yeah, you can do. You can certainly do notary as well.
So one thing I want to space before we move forward is. One question I always ask when I start dating a woman, I don't care who the fuck she is. She might be fucking the president's wife or king of London. I don't give a shit who you are. My mother's sick. Is this going to be a problem? No. Yes. Just straight up. I respect the straight up answer. Whatever. If it's no, it's no. Fun. I get it. It's not for everybody. It's a yes. And the one time I didn't answer that question, I dealt with that crazy psychopath I was with. So every time I ask that question, they're all like, "Listen, I respect you, and it's a bigger turn on because you do take care of your mom. Yeah, you can be an asshole at times with her, like, but you have to be. We get it, but we respect you more for that reason.
Yeah,
and I make sure I ask that question, and I don't like ask it. I diagnose it. I break it down to the point. She can't. If she tries to fucking lie to me, I will fucking realize it very easily. You can tell it's like lying or stuff like that.
Right.
So I break to it like. If somebody was there right in front of me, right here, and I'm talking to her on a day, whatever, and those questions come out, I can tell you're lying, Sybil. Just to be honest from the start. So that's how I do it.
Right.
So again, everybody's different, of course.
Yeah.
They diagnose things.
Yeah. But back to G's point again, the will notarized. Now again, that would certainly go into effect again when the person dies. I'm assuming, but I'm talking about still. There are decisions that need to be made. Again, you need to deal with banks and bank accounts. You have to, and certainly it's good if you can get your name on some of those accounts. I mean, joint accounts where your name is on it, so you can do.
My mother's in bank wise, my name's in it.
That's money, so I'm saying, right. So again, those are things you have to be sure of. Again, talking to the state, talking to Social Security. Talking to Medicare, Medicaid office, things of that nature. When your power of attorney, living will, similarly, all those are options on the table. I just found for me, in fact, we got both. I got power of attorney and I got the living will and I got the healthcare directive. So I got all of those basically in one shot. All of these are tools that help you, especially when you're dealing with bureaucracy. When there's a lot of red tape that you have to go through, it's just easier when you have those things available to you so you can act quickly when oftentimes those sort of decisions need to be made quickly. So again, I'm not an expert on those things. I just know I have everything. I got power of attorney for my dad also. And making sure that, I was able to act quickly on their behalf to make sure certain things were done. Yes, definitely healthcare directive is certainly important. That one, I'd be less concerned about because typically they go to next of kin, especially when it comes to like what you want to do. At least in my experience, next of kin usually has that. But again, I think especially if you have siblings, I think another reason why those things are good to have because again. Sometimes, especially when it comes to the health of a parent, people get funny all of a sudden. So everything's good for a while, but then when you talk about, okay, well, we're opting not to. If mom ever becomes I don't want my mom to be a vegetable. So if she's only going to be on life support or whatever, I don't want to keep her in that vegetative state. I'm like, let her die in peace. That's already
my mother wanted, who's my grandmother.
Yeah. So but then
say about all this stuff where teachers are recommending you can get all this stuff for free through a hospital. You don't have to pay a dime for this stuff. At least I know up in PA. I'm not sure in Jersey or New York anymore.
But a lot of I mean, I got mine through what's that online legal Zoom.
Okay.
I mean, it's relatively inexpensive. I think that the healthcare director was maybe about $10-12. I think the living will and the power of attorney probably together might have been $50-60. So you weren't spending a ton. The only thing we needed really was a note to make sure my mom was well enough and cogent enough, explained to her what the procedure was, got her signature, and got it notarized. Yeah. And then once that was done, we were good from there.
So I know, with in PA, at least you get a case manager. Obviously, every time someone's in the hospital, you get a case manager. So you just ask the case manager, hey, I want to get a power of attorney, or I want a will and will, I want to notarize, whatever the case is. The hospital does that for free. I'm not sure in Jersey.
I've never heard of those services offered. But again, it's been a minute since I did that. Again, I did all those actions back in, I think, 2016, 2017. So it's been a while. So again, laws may have changed since then. But at the
think
time they
about
weren't
it.
offering. Yeah,
I believe JT also works for a hospital. If I'm not mistaken.
he does. Yeah, he certainly works in the healthcare. He certainly works in the healthcare system. And
JT, if you know the answers, does old hospital offer all these services for free to, let's say, get notarized and all that stuff? If you can't answer that, please, it'd be great.
yeah, actually, Black David, if you wouldn't mind, I know we're kind of past the show, but certainly I would really like to get JT's perspective on this. If you can drop the link in the chat, maybe we can go for another 10 minutes or so. But and JT,
go ahead in here.
Yeah, and what Palcast, if you certainly could pop on, if anyone certainly wants to pop on and talk about, if you are caring for your parents, if you want to give it, I can go a little longer tonight because I just thought this was an important topic to go about. So I'm not
I agree
as
with you.
worried about time.
I knew from the start
tonight. So
you
if
were
you
nervous
if,
at first. I'm bringing my mother on. Let's be honest.
I knew this would be certainly for me again just going through this process. I know again if you're a Gen Xer, your parents are of that age where you have to start thinking about these matters. And again, shout out to What We Know because I know he lost his father early this year, or towards the end of last year. But certainly within the last year. And David, if you can drop the link in the chat and maybe have What We Know come up and just explain, since he's in that industry, his perspective on what are some of the better options when caring for your parents. I think that would be some useful information that we can share. So if you could just hang on What We Know, and David, drop the link, and we'll just we'll keep the conversation going. I hope not. But hopefully we'll keep the conversation going until
Can we drop the same one we had?
Yeah. In fact, okay. In fact, I can think so. Let me just grab it.
Because I think he's snoring his bubble coming out of his nose.
Possibly. Let me go grab it. But let me see here, because I think I went through all my. One thing that we didn't go. I kind of saw some of the dynamic that you were talking about, but one thing we really didn't get a chance to hit on too much was the idea. I got it.
I'm dropping it right now.
Okay, cool. As far as being up, I don't know if that's the right one or not.
Did not work.
So I get pasted a bunch of other stuff in there. Let me see if I can do a little bit better. I think it still did the same thing. I think I got it. See if this works. Okay, try that JT. See if you can click that and join. But I wanted to talk about, hey, what's going on, my brother? It's good to see you, man.
What's up, man? How you doing, man? How's everybody?
Doing well. Doing well. So we've been talking about, again, this was sort of like a last minute change. So we were just talking about parental care. Obviously, being Gen Xers is the way we are. Our parents get up there in age, and we have to start, making those sort of decisions for them, making sure that they're well cared for. And we were just talking about, again, some of these tools that are available to help us in terms of taking care of them. So, you have living wills, power of attorney, healthcare initiatives, whatnot. I know you work in the healthcare industry, so you may want to share from your experience some of the better options people may want to consider, maybe what some of the pluses and minuses of doing one thing or another. And again, I know that laws may change from state to state regarding that, so I don't know what the laws are in Michigan when it occurs certain things. I know the grooming was saying in PA, if you're a power of attorney, you basically take on all the debt essentially that person has. I don't think that's the case in New Jersey, but certainly that's a consideration as to why he hasn't chosen that option yet. So just from your experience working in healthcare, what are some of the better options that people can leverage to help better take care of their parents?
Yeah, first of all, when you're talking about power of attorney is only for the living.
Mm-hmm.
Once they die, it changes. So that's why you would have to get a will. That's the best way is to have a will notarized. Mm-hmm. And you should be also an executive of their estate. Mm-hmm. So that's the difference. The only time, and I know in Michigan, the only time that you will be you will be responsible for debts and things like that is if you're married, right? If you're
Yeah.
married, and even with taxes and things like that. That's my mom. She had to deal with the taxes and stuff like that.
Mm.
But living will would be probably the first. If you're taking care of your loved one, you would definitely get a administrative. You would get a what was it, the palliative for palliative care, but the what'd you say? Which one?
A healthcare directive.
The directive, right? Administrative directive. You definitely want to get that because a lot of facilities they would have the social workers would definitely need that in order for them to, and you definitely want to do that because that's the thing about if they want to be resuscitated and all these different things.
Right,
basically,
right.
that's what you're doing is giving them the directives. If they want to donate their organs and things like that, with the you want to deal with that. But the best thing to do would be to have a living will.
Yep.
A will, and while they're living, the durable power of attorney.
Mm-hmm.
So once you got those three things, you should be pretty much, okay. And depending on what facility. So in veterans, what we ended up doing, just so they don't have to go and look for all of those durable power of attorneys and things like that for your next of kin, is that we have a thing called a passcode. So it'll be something that you will, a password that you would come up with, and whatever family member that needs to talk to whatever clinic or doctor or whatever, that will be what they will use. Easy passcode, and that's the easier way to go about it. But you definitely want to still have all those other things in place also. So that, I'm going to tell you, that will, it works better when you have, it works a lot. It's more conducive when you have a large family, like a bunch of siblings and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
That helps. It's not really going to be a problem when you have a smaller family. Mm-hmm. It's basically based off of the family that you have. So there's a way that things happen when, for instance, if someone happens to pass away, the first thing they would look for is a spouse. Yeah. If there's no spouse, then the children, and then it would go for the oldest child all the way down, right? Mm-hmm. So if you already know that oldest child is not the one that you really want to take care of you, it goes to what Mr. Bennett was saying. You need to have these conversations right now. Yeah. So you would know exactly what happens when you are not either of sound mind or that, eventually you transition. Right. You definitely want that. One of the biggest problems that I've seen, because we also had a family home care. And one of the things that we've seen was that how the family splits up when they have to take care of that, that family member. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy how you will see, because people still got lives, but you would have the pressure, it'll be on one or two people. Right?
Exactly. Yep. I talked about that earlier, that 80-20 applies in that situation also, where they said the dominant one, maybe two, are doing most of the work, and everybody initially is like, well, you take on a certain Tuesdays and Thursdays I got on this day, and it may start out that day initially, and then it just starts getting down, and then when the smoke clears, it's basically down to that one person. And so that does a lot of damage as far as destroying families and whatnot. I've seen it a lot personally, up close, and I was saying earlier, like, not everybody is built to handle those responsibilities, and you're going to find that out who the capable ones are. That's why I said, when I look at grooming, or like I said, myself, or folks who've taken that on, people will, like I got people. It's like, nah, it's not. He's not the one. She's not the one, and you start to find that out, and but I think over time, I think the blessing for me was it's like I kind of got over some of that because I was saying, well, I was like, well, I'm the youngest or whatever, but it helped me better understand what my purpose for being here is. So I truly believe that. I think God had a reason for bringing me in because, like I said, my brother, he's 6.5 years older than me, and my parents weren't even trying to have any more kids. They were like, where'd you come from? You weren't supposed to be here. So I'm that accident that
oops.
the oops, but the oops was the blessing. So so you after a while you start to let a lot of that go also. Because because all that stuff we talk about, perseverance and character building and things of that nature, and the person you become in that process. And a lot of times that whatever resentment you might have had for someone else or whatever who maybe didn't step up, again, you start to understand that they're just not built for this.
Yeah,
but guess what? But you were.
Yeah,
and there's a reward in that. Yeah.
Now, somebody who's like a small family, because I'm an only child, do you recommend a will or anything like that?
Absolutely. That will, because you just don't know. You don't. It is funny when someone passes away, you have no idea of what's going to come up in their life. You know all of the things in their past. One of the things that's going to happen is that you're going to have debt collectors coming. They're definitely. You're going to have the IRS. They're going to be coming. They're definitely going to be coming. It's an eerie feeling that you will have, but it's what you were built for. It really gives you the life and death, how constant it is, right? It's never going to be. It doesn't end. It's just that's just what it is. So when it comes down to getting anything that they can communicate right now in sound body, if you can get them to communicate it right now, please get them to do it. That was the thing with my mom. She's living with me now. Right. With my father, we had to come up with money so we can, actually have him, we can bury him. Right. Yeah. Because one of the things, they were living life. My father used to always have life insurance and things like that. It lapsed. Life happens. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But when it came down to even with him, he had dementia. Man, that was hard for us to even, it was like we had to get it in our mind that he's not that guy anymore. Right. He's not. My father's never been in the hospital more than 24 hours. I think one time he was for a motorcycle accident, whatever, but he wasn't doing that. When we had to tell him, you can't have your license anymore.
Talked about that earlier.
He gave up. Yeah. That's what he literally just said, I'm done then. Because he worked, that was his job. The majority of his life, he drove. Right. He was a cab driver, tow truck driver. He had a landscaping business. Everything that he did, it was more than that. But most of the things he did, it encompasses driving. Yeah. He taught me how to drive, taught my brother how to drive, taught my mother how to drive. So when it got to the point where my father he ended up having an accident or something. And he drove away like nothing happened. Right. And then we got to the point where it's like, he can't drive anymore. And we have to tell him, we're going to have to cut the license up, man. Yeah. And that's when he stopped fighting. He just was like, all right. And he just started agreeing with any and everything. It didn't matter anymore. Yeah. Right. So, and that was hard for me and my brother and my mom. Imagine my mom, they just had their 55th anniversary. And how hard it was for her, because she was just like, he was doing a lot of things a couple of years ago. And, she was like, I'm telling your father this, but he's doing weird stuff. And she's still looking at him as he's in sound body and mind. He kept losing it. He was losing it as the years went on. Yeah. And it was hard for her to actually, gravitate to that until it just got to the point where he couldn't, he worked like a month before he passed away. He wasn't even, that's how hard he was struggling. Right. He got up every morning, the same thing. He got up 6 o'clock in the morning, still did the same thing, went to work. And it was times that he just couldn't function. He got lost, and he's driving people on a bus. Right. And it just got to the point where it was like, we got to take care of him. Yeah. We wasn't trying to. I'm like, well, he can't be in no home. But then when we started talking to the doctors and and all of the social workers and stuff like that, they were like, well, you guys going to have to find him someplace because it's going to be difficult. They're telling us what's about to happen before it started happening.
Yeah.
And it was scary.
Yeah.
But then it brought out what we supposed to be. Like my brother, it was hard for him. So I had to step up, right?
Yeah.
As hard as it was for me, I had to be built for it. I was built for it.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
then and I couldn't be mad at him because, my brother was just like, he couldn't, it was just certain things he just couldn't do.
Correct.
So I had to also understand him. I had to understand my mom.
Yeah. And in the moment, that takes maturity, man. I mean, really, the fact that you were able to come to that realization relatively early, I admit for the first couple years, I was kind of in my feelings.
Yeah.
Especially when I was getting that armchair quarterback type of thing. Well, you need to be doing this and you need to be doing that. Yeah. Knowing that other person is like, look, I'm not looking to take this on. Right. So look, I'll solicit when I ask your advice or opinion on something. I'll solicit. I'll let you know what's about to go on. Right. But at this point in time, again, I got the paper, I got the power, the POA, I got the living will, I got the whatever. It's my move to make. But I think again, we got better over the years because I think at this point it's basically my family. In fact, my sister, I just moved my mom recently into palliative care, so it's not hospice, it's palliative.
Right.
And she basically said to everybody in the room, it's like, you know what? He makes the call. Yeah. That was almost like her basically, and this is my oldest sister, the oldest sibling. Mm-hmm. And she basically said, he's got it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I just felt that was just almost like an anointing of like, yeah, he is the tribal chief when it comes to these kind of things for them. Yeah. He runs it. Yeah. And that was just and I reached out to my other siblings, broke down the situation where I was like, they're like, Paul, we trust you, right? Mm-hmm. So that took some time to build and whatnot, but I'm just glad that we were able to get to this place with my siblings, and they, at one time or another, they all came up to me at some point and said, "You're doing a great job. I'm glad you're doing what you're doing. Whatever. I appreciate it. I understand what you've been doing. Keep doing what you're doing." And that just was, so it's hard to be angry anymore. Yeah, at that point. And
that's when that's when you look at life as it's not about it being fair. It's just being life. You're like, wow, it's just life. This is what it is.
Absolutely. Yeah. But grooming. Any things? Again, we're approaching the midnight hour here. But just JT, I just want to thank you for coming up and thank you for sharing.
Appreciate it,
those are things that you didn't hear before, but I really appreciate you sharing your perspective on things. Absolutely. And again, next week's show. Now you talked about, like I said, part 2. We're going to be talking about death next week. So we're going to talk about what happens to the wills and what happens with. In fact, all this kind of came up because we were having a conversation on Grooming Show on Thursday, and our Payne said him and his wife, they just bought plots. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, look, that might be I think Lit was saying that's maybe a Southern thing that they just buy plots. I don't know. But to proactively buy a plot, I guess maybe it's in the Northeast. Most people just don't have that thought process. Right. About we'll deal with that stuff at the end. Like you said, you got to scramble to get money. How we going to bury them, all that kind of stuff. We'll work it out, call the funeral home, and they'll take care of all of that. But I'm like proactive. And he said that the only thing he wishes that he bought the plots 20 years ago, because them things, especially in this area, the cost of plots is going up. You think real estate property is going up? Plots are going up. So I'm thinking it's not so far fetched in your early years, your 20s, your 30s, or 40s, to start thinking about that sort of thing. So it's not a big expense for everybody down the line. Right. We need to start understanding that death can come at any time, and nobody wants to go, but you need to be operating and preparing. That's why, again, your finances and your investments and, all these things we be talking about in these spaces, why you need to have those things lined up, having health insurance, having life insurance, which again, a conversation that a lot of people don't want to have. But we need to be realistic, especially if you have a family.
Yes.
Making sure that they're taken care of, especially if you have young children, making sure they're taken care of. In should something happen. I mean, those are the difficult ones. But if you want to talk about legacy, passing on, this is how generational wealth is oftentimes passed on. You have to have those difficult conversations.
Yes.
Early in your courtship, in your dating, the woman you're gonna be messing with.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, you guys like, look, what happens when my parents get old? They living with us, or are we gonna take your parents in?
Yeah,
all of that stuff. You need to this. But like you said earlier, JD, this is life.
Yeah,
and death comes at the end of life, and new life. Birth starts the whole process, the whole cycle over again. And so it's. But like I said, I just really appreciate you and just what you've shared about your family. Your mom and dad were married 50+ years, I believe.
Yeah. They just Friday. It was the 55th anniversary that they had, man. Yeah. And she, I mean, even when she took it kind of, she's still taking it kind of hard because it's still surreal for her. But it was like for me too, and it made me really think about my life. So it's even like with my kids, they all over there. One is in Louisiana, the other one is in Tennessee. Mm-hmm. Oh, and that's why offline, man. One of these days this week, man, I need to holler at you. It's some real stuff that I definitely want to talk to you about.
You got it.
But it's definitely
like you've been saying to me about my show we're supposed to do together.
Yeah, man. Listen, we gotta.
Yeah, okay.
See how hard it is for me to do my own show.
Like he says, I'll hit you up. Right. Don't worry, we're gonna do a together.
I ain't going nowhere, brother. For real.
No, I know you're not going. I'm gonna kick your ass if you do.
But when it comes down to even with my own kids, I want to get them ready, right? I want to have them.
Yeah, that's the thing. Have you contemplated starting to have this conversation with them in terms of, okay, well, who's gonna take care of me when I can't? Are you starting to have those, and how's that going?
Well, because I have one in social work and I got another one that's in medical, they're on it. You know what I'm saying? Right. So it's like the conversation is going, especially like with me and their mom, like we're really in a great space with each other right now. Mm-hmm. So one of the things we look at is how are we going to end up, doing this thing with our kids? We got to make sure that they know stuff now, right?
Yeah.
So that was my thing. I've always had, I think since I've been in the military, I've always just had life insurance on myself. So she always had life insurance too, since we've been, grown. So that's one of the things that I just never played with when it came down to that.
Right. And the crazy thing I'm hearing, thing I'm hearing now is I'm seeing a lot more people now buying life insurance for their parents.
Yeah.
I'm just taking out a policy on you, and parents don't necessarily mind it, but they paying the kids are paying a premium on it, but they think at the end of the day, whatever that cash is out to, they look at it as an investment. So that's becoming a more of a popular option that I'm seeing younger millennials and are starting to exercise in these days. They
don't want to be left with. Like it's
weird. That big hit, man. Yeah,
that hit is and you already got to deal with the loss of your loved one and stuff like that. Yeah, so I think we need to talk a lot more about it because it's amazing how many people don't even have insurance on themselves, just insurance. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So then we can get to talking about the will, living wills. Durable power of attorney. I'm looking, man, when I see these younger folks, not younger folks, but these older folks, these veterans, they didn't know about all of this stuff. And one of the things that I got to give to a lot of these women is that they be on top of it. A lot of these women be on top of it. And maybe it's because they're like, look, if he leads before me, how is my life going to look? And so what they would do is they would start being on insurance and they would make sure that they got these directives and things like that. Because normally it is the man is either, even if we're not dead, we be in the wheelchair faster. It's like, and you see these men that have been married to these women, no matter what color they are, they come in there. I always see the man coming with his wife, and she's the one that's doing all the talking, signing all the paperwork and all these different things. So, and then this is, I'm talking about Vietnam.
Yeah.
These folks that's Vietnam, World War II. You don't see too many of them anymore. But when I first got into the for veterans, when I started seeing these things, man, I was like, wow, it is when you see a husband and a wife that actually are doing what they're supposed to be doing, you're gonna see that woman. She's really gonna make sure that man is gonna be okay. She really is. And when I saw that, man, I was like, wow. Every time when I talk to a lot of these older folks, they got their wife with them. It's sad when you see them without a loved one, right? But when you see him with that loved one, and he might not have all his faculties with him or whatever, but she's right there. She is in his corner, and it's frustrating. You can see the frustration in their face.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or you see this man is coming in, and his kids are there. You can see the daughter, and the craziest part is that you'll see the daughter, and then you will see the son. The son is not more vocal, though. It's the daughters that be more vocal. You know what I'm saying? So women are very, it's like intricate. So when we're talking about these marriages and things like that, a lot of people don't talk about that. The end. Yeah. What do you do before the end comes, before the transition comes? Right. Are you prepared? And when people talk more about that, I think it will make them say, look, we need to be more together than apart.
Absolutely.
Because it's scary. All of it.
Yeah. Grooming, closing thoughts before we get on out of here?
When it comes down to take care of your loved ones, don't give up. They've been there for you to the end. It's time for you to be there for the end. They brought you to life. At least you owe them that much to do the best damn fucking thing and take care of them. Don't brush them off. Don't yell at them. Don't scream at them. If you have to, do it because you're trying to make them take the medication or make sure to go to the doctors, not because you're frustrated. You always have to take a deep breath. And don't think your life is on hold because you take care of them. You can still live life normally. You just have to know time yourself better.
All right. Well, as I started the show with, again, that saying, once a parent, twice a child. And once you start to get to that end of life, and you start caring for your parents, it's almost like they're your children. And but that's the cycle of life. That's how things work. We need to be prepared for that. And again, I want to be empathetic to everyone. If that's an issue for you, now again, some people don't have certain aptitudes or patience or capacities, but if this is due to a relational issue, please get some help. Counseling, therapy, if anything for yourself, to start letting some stuff go that could be blocking your blessings because of you're holding on to some stuff that at the end of life, none of that stuff's going to matter. So really, I encourage people to certainly do the work necessary, so at least you can be whole and you can be at peace with your parents. And I, and even for me, it's like I got to a point, but there were points where I didn't like my parents very much, but I loved them, and I made sure they were taken care of. And that sometimes, how it has to be sometimes, But with that, I am Mr. Bennett. He is Grooming and Reviews 101, a.k.a. the Ghost of Sparta, a.k.a. Peter, a.k.a. Panayotis. And my man, JT. Sparta! Thank you so much for joining us tonight. This has been The Gray Area. I hope you guys certainly enjoy the content. Thank you, Ine, for the compliment. And again, next week's show, we're going to be dealing with the concept of death, how different cultures deal with death. Do you bury or cremation? I mean, cost paying for funerals in this country is no joke, especially when it hits you unexpectedly. And so we're going to be dealing with that topic in next week's show. We hope hopefully you'll join us for that. But it's been a pleasure to be with you guys tonight. And again, thank you, Grooming, for sharing your mother with us tonight, Miss Anna. Again, praying for her wholeness, praying for her wellness, praying for you that you continue to do what you need to do and make sure she's taken care of, her and your father. But for everyone else, have a great week. and we'll see you next time. Take care. God bless.